Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Week 6 of AEL's Elite Series InterVarsity Rocket League. My name is Formal. Joining me again is Morgie, the one who has almost been here every week. We each missed out on the first week. That's all well and good, but that's okay, because now it's time for the important games. Last week kind of set up a four-way race for 3 spots in the playoffs, and today we'll paint a better picture going into our final week. But first of all, Morgie, how have you been?
I've been good, Formal. A busy week. Always looking forward to Wednesdays, though, to get on cast and, see some really tight series. So, looking forward to it tonight. How about you?
I've been doing pretty well. I mean, comfy, good state of mind. I'm excited to see how this week will play off because, again, we're at a situation right now where there's only so many playoff spots available. One team has already punched their ticket through. The University of New South Wales, they're looking... Well, I guess technically it's not guaranteed, but because of a matchup that's happening later, it is. So, yeah, they're in. Still 3 spots, I should say, remaining. 4 teams battling it out. And it's a good situation. It's a good place to be in. Every game is important.
Yeah, definitely. And that makes the stream all the more fun to cast, all the more fun to watch. Of course, credit to where credit is due to UNSW, our reigning champs from last season as well. They've got a really talented roster. It's not a huge surprise that they have technically made it through, depending on how tonight goes, of course. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
I mean, the only way I can see them not getting in is a disqualification, and we don't want to wish that on any team. But look, before we get too far into it, I think it's time we thank our sponsors.
Of course. So we have 2 sponsors who we are incredibly grateful for, who make tonight and all nights actually all the more possible. First of all, we've got AGON by AOC, the gaming monitor partner, who provide the best in-class monitor solutions for gaming and all other needs. And of course, we can't forget our noodle partner, Indomie the Noodle partner, made with high-quality flour and select ingredients and spices. A plate of Indomie mee goreng will certainly brighten up your day. Try any one of the flavors available today from your local grocer or at indomie.com.au. I actually had a bowl before cast because I've made the mistake too many weeks in a row of not eating before cast, and then we've had so many weeks where we've had such tight series, we've had so many OTs and game 5s as well, so we get off a little later than planned, and my tummy may be grumbling a little bit, so I did not make that mistake tonight. I had a really yummy bowl of mee goreng.
What did you mix with it? What did you put in with it?
I put all, because it comes with the 2 spices.
Yeah.
I put both of those in. Okay, here's my process. I pour out most of the water, but leave a little bit of liquid in it. Then both spice packets, I do the oil, the sweet soy, and I put about half the sambal in, because that can get quite spicy.
Nice. Well, that's
not great before cast to eat anything too spicy, but...
Well, that's fair. Look, I did with mine, because I had a little bit as well, all right, and I just made lamb bolognese with it. But here we go. A look at our standings. They've been up for a little while, and I mean, as I was saying before, UON, they're looking pretty good, but not guaranteed in that spot yet. UTS, QUT, and Griffith University all in the hunt. Now, if UON is to miss out on the playoffs, it would come down to tie breaks, because there still is going to be a matchup between 2 of those 3-2 teams, the big Griffith University versus UTS. Our third match of the day, which you can see in our schedule, about to come up right now. That one is going to be that main event. Now, because of the standings where they lie, that means UON is 1 win away from punching their ticket in. QUT, they've got a tough ask against the University of New South Wales. Odds are they might fall short, but for UTS and Griffith, a win, they are probably going to be in as well. So 2 teams looking to punch that ticket through. And of course, USID versus UOM, that's a game that's happening.
That will be an interesting game indeed. But Formal, tell me, because look, when it comes to the standings, when it comes to kind of like the math and the intricacies behind who makes it in and who doesn't, tell me, have we got any teams that will not be able to make it in despite winning essentially this week and the next couple of weeks?
There is one team that unfortunately will not be qualifying, and that is UOM, 0-5, mathematically eliminated, and it is sad. Sad for the UOM squad. USID and ANU still can, but they would need a lot of help. They would essentially need QUT and the loser of the UTS Griffith game to lose the rest of their games, and then hope for a tiebreak situation while they win out. Ideally, they'd want that team to be Griffith, because of tiebreaks, comes down to that goal differential, and that's where Griffith is struggling a little bit, but we'll see how it plays off, because our first match, well, ANU could be done, UON could be in. I mean, both these teams playing for their life in a very different way, and it's going to be a fun matchup.
Oh yeah, for sure. But again, UON is, we've seen great consistency out of UON. They're a really strong team. They've performed really well, and unfortunately, as we saw last week, they did drop their first series. They were sweeping the board series-wise up until last week. So credit to UTS though. They are also an incredible team who came into this season really, really strong. So they did manage to take UON down. ANU, on the other hand, performed incredibly last week. They didn't win the series, but no. I think we went into that series with them versus Griffith thinking that Griffith was going to run away with it a little bit more than they did, but they took it to game 5. It was so close. So we've seen ANU perform at their peak, and we know they can do some damage as well.
I mean, you're saying they took it to game 5. If I remember correctly, they kind of let it go to game 5 with the 0-second goal in game 4 that they threw it away. And then it was another heartbreaking loss. Again, ANU is that team that will break your heart, but maybe, just maybe, back against the wall, needing to win the rest of their games, they can pull off something here. Shelbert going to be in this one instead of Matisse, and you got excited about this inclusion. I'm a little bit more nervous because I thought Matisse was actually playing pretty well.
I thought he was last week, honestly, and it's nothing against Menace. I think he's a great player for this roster and fits in really nicely. But I was excited because we haven't seen Shelbert in, I think, a fair few weeks now, and I think Shelbert is a great player. I think they do perform well on game day. We have seen in the past. Everybody has their good days. Everybody has their off days as well, and I'm just excited to see kind of like the comeback after so many weeks missing.
They nearly started off with a great start. In fact, the pressure's still on. Ultimate Duck, though, will go a little bit wide on that first shot. But, I mean, it is a game of high importance, realistically, for both these teams. As mentioned a couple times now, UON guarantees the playoffs if they win this one out, and Bud will score the first goal.
Oh, Ultimate Duck so set up on defense there, ready to save that. Gets bumped by Eminence. Bud with a nice, easy follow-up. I think we're going to see a lot of physical play out of this series for them.
Yeah, I kind of feel that as well. I mean, UON coming off that tough loss against UTS, that series was an absolute banger. Also went the distance, kind of like ANU. So both of these teams coming off of, well, you know, a disappointing game 5, and those are always tough series to bounce back on. I think UON probably would be feeling the pressure a little bit more just because going into UTS, that would be a game they'd be expecting to win, and ANU, despite their record, always find ways to stay competitive. But I don't know. It also should feel nice for UON knowing that no matter what, you've at least have a situation where you're going to be coming down to a tiebreak for that playoff spot.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, that was actually something I completely blanked on before, that kind of mirrored situation of both teams losing in Game 5 last week, coming into this week on the back of that kind of disappointing loss for both sides. I think it really comes down to which team has the stronger mental. Obviously, it comes down to the skill on the roster, and how well they can perform on the day. But you've got a roster that comes into this series excited to come back from the disappointment last week. I think they'll have their heads up.
So far, it's looking pretty good for that UON side. 2 early goals, make it 3 with some scattered defense, and we're not even a minute and a half into this game, and Bud's already 1 goal away from a hat trick.
Wouldn't that be a sight to see? I believe in it. I definitely believe in it, especially when we're getting passes like that out of Eminence as well. Eminence has been such a key player to this roster. Obviously came into this season as a new player for UON. And has really been a really dominant threat in this season as an individual player.
I'm actually a little bit surprised in this one as well, just how dominant UON has been looking. This is a far cry from the UON we saw last week, which really took a while to get started and was kind of part of their downfall. They just didn't look comfortable, whereas this time around, it's ANU who had the fast start that looks uncomfortable out of the gate. The defense has been, slightly better than atrocious thus far. They can build off it for sure, but I don't know. I don't like seeing a team give up 3 goals in essentially a minute.
Yeah, no, totally understandable. But I mean, with UON, can you blame them coming up against UTS? UTS have been performing incredibly, and they just come into these series with such speed that I feel like that kind of threw off UON last week and ultimately led to their demise in that series.
This time around, UON off to the stronger start. It does look as if ANU has finally settled. I'm actually seeing some contact when they rotate back, and Well, maybe spoke a little bit too soon on Shelbert's behalf, and that will lead to an Emirates shot. Fortunate for the ANU side, the shot goes wide to the left.
Seeing the ball loose now in front of net. We have managed, I was going to say managed to clear it, though it is caught in the corner still. All three of ANU players trying to clear it, trying to get it out of that corner, but Shelbert is left on his own now, trying to get it past Bud, manages to. Gets it past, not quite past Speedy as well, who manages to get the block.
Love how Speedy immediately turns and starts to commit, though. The second there's a bit of a mistake. Eminence with the fake. Tries to set up Bud, but Bud won't go too far in it. First real opportunity for ANU as Duck gets it to the backboard, but there's no backup courtesy of a demo. And the physicality, again, working in UON's favor. Not even Hazza has the speed to turn that into a goal.
Yeah, super unfortunate there. Could have been a very great opportunity for ANU, but it seemed like Shelbert and Hazza both turned around. No one really supporting Ultimate Duck right now. I feel like Ultimate Duck has kind of been left in that first man position a fair bit without a close second man, which is really to their detriment right now.
And I feel like that's where this team could be missing Metis, because if Metis was anything, was a great support to Ultimate Duck. So many times, particularly last week as well, we saw Metis just kind of in that cleanup role. And I haven't really seen Hazza or Shelbert step up in that position just yet. Obviously, these are the kind of adaptations that can come through in a series. Game 2 should look a lot different than game number 1. But in this opening affair, yeah, hesitation on ANU, commitment early from UON, and an easy 3-0 lead.
I mean, I think the thing that's surprising to me is even despite not having Metis here, I feel like Hazza last week was playing really, really well, and we're just not seeing that out of him individually as a player this week. I feel like he was pushing a lot more, as well as Metis being that kind of second-hand support for Ultimate Duck. Hazza was there as well, and they were playing a much more aggressive offense. I think maybe with having Shelbert in the mix, not that Shelbert isn't playing well, but just having a player essentially kind of like a sub situation where you have a player who hasn't been here for so many weeks kind of throws the dynamic of the team a little bit.
If you had told me last split that we were going to see Bud win a big 50 against Ultimate Duck for a goal, I would not have believed you, but that's what happens right there. Kind of put this game on ice. Game number 1 will go in favor of the University of Newcastle, and I mean, look, if you're looking for a bounce back after a disappointing Game 5, if you're looking to punch your ticket to the playoffs, this is how you want to start it off. Ultimate Duck crossbars it, and again, ANU just comes up that little bit short.
I feel like this is one of those I told you so moments, Paul. Well, we told you last week that Bud had stepped it up massively, and I don't know that you believed me all too much, but already Game 1 with a hat-trick, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, this is the Bud that you were talking up, okay? I don't think you can blame me based on the Bud we saw last week. Ultimate Duck will get one. It's kind of in garbage time, but it's still a small moral victory for the red side.
Absolutely. The pre-flip on that was insane. This is the kind of player I expect out of Ultimate Duck. The timing is impeccable on his shots, on the angles he manages to take, on the pre-flips, the mech he throws into his shots as well. I think he's a really good player. It's just unfortunate that, I feel like the team's just not gelling too well right now, and I hope they can pick it up.
Add another 20 seconds to the game clock, as another goal will come through in the dying moments. Just kind of mentally preparing for game number 2. Speedy is going to add to their stats, and you know what? I've been thinking about it, and I just didn't give myself enough time today, but going into next week, Morgie, I'm going to just go through all the VODs, assuming they still are all saved. Check them out at AEL. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to compile everyone's individual stats, methinks. I'm going to get in on it.
Ooh.
I want to take a look
this.
at who's been the leading scorers, who's been the assists. I'm curious.
No, I actually love that. I think that's a great idea. If you want any help with it, let me know. But I think that'd be really cool to comment on next week if we can see how the players individually have been performing. Who's been carrying, who's been lacking. I don't know.
It was a shower thought, and I look. Our producer is worrying that we're going to make them do it. No, I'm going to do it myself. Don't worry, BK. I got some free time this week.
I think BK actually nominated someone else. I don't think BK volunteered.
No, I know BK didn't volunteer. Here we go, though. Game number 2. Excited for this one. See if UON can continue this hot streak. Now, we've only had 3 sweeps so far in AEL Elite Series, which is insane when you think about it, when you consider how common sweeps actually kind of are during group stages in events like this. If game 1, though, was any inclination, I think there's a very high chance this could be our 4th sweep of the season.
I think we may have had. I think we've had 4. We had 2 in the first sweep.
Oh, was there 2 in the first?
UON took down UOM in the first week.
Griffith, New South Wales. I didn't count that.
And then, yeah, so we'd be on sweep 5 if we managed to get one tonight. But still, to be in week 6, 4 games every night,
Wait,
and
no,
only
it's
be
still
up to our...
Hold on, I'm still... Oh, I missed. Yep, you're right. I'm
Are
better.
you good?
I'm better now.
No, you're good at math. You've been
I'm going to be
telling me.
doing the stats, by the way, but I'm...
Everyone be a little bit skeptical when we see those stats.
Oh, can you believe Ultimate Duck has scored 48 goals in just 3 games?
I don't know about Ultimate Duck, but one of these UOM players, Speedy, Evans, Bud, I wouldn't be too surprised with 48 goals in one game.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the performance. Speedy goes ahead, knocks in that first one, so UON continuing right where they left off with goals in the first minute here in our second match. And I'm looking to Hazza. I'm looking to Shelbert. I want to see them get a bit more aggressive. I want to see them get more touches in the middle of the field, but it just hasn't happened yet. It's always Ultimate Duck.
Yeah, I think you're right. I feel like even just then, Ultimate Duck was caught back in net by himself, and I feel like, we see a lot of tactical solo plays all the time, but Ultimate Duck's solo plays feel a little bit forced right now. I feel like he's put on the back foot a little bit just because rotation is seeming a little bit awkward, and he doesn't know quite how to pass it off to his teammates right now, how to get them involved, because they are hesitating quite a lot.
I mean, even on that last goal, I was kind of watching it, and it looked like Hazza, was just very hesitant and wanted to wait for the touch of the attacker, and they were expecting them, I think, to go to the right side wall. But instead it was a brilliant pass actually back over to the left side, caught Hazza off guard, and because of the hesitation, there was just no momentum to get to the play and break it up, so... Yeah, very awkward on the ANU side in our second game now in a row. See if they'll be able to bounce this one back as ball comes across that midfield line. Bud's going to throw it towards the net. Easy clutch.
I feel like the big difference here for me is that UON are just the way they're rotating in offense. They're playing aggressively, but they're very tactical about how they're playing their third man. Their third man's pushed up, but able into a position where they can easily rotate back on when ANU has had the opportunity to put it back in UON's half. Like just now, we can see already the defenders were all pushed up into offense, but all made it back in time before any goal was shot.
Good thing, too, because Duck did make 2 of them miss. This is an opportunity for Hazza, who will get the dunk on Speedy. So, yes, the rotations were good, but the execution with Duck on the initial attack is what got the defense eventually out of sorts, setting up eventually this goal right here. So, well done to the ANU side. Finally, some follow-up off of Duck's play. Hazza stepping up when he needed to, and he got a 1-goal game.
Yeah, definitely a lot better than we saw the first game, but I will admit I am surprised the score is 2-1 right now. It does feel like it should be a lot more in UON's favour. I feel like they've had quite a few opportunities to score. I'm speaking way too soon. We're going to see the fake out on the defender, waiting for the second touch from Bud here. Doesn't manage to get the second touch, but Joe jumped anyway, and we've seen another goal for UON.
Oh, the desperate pre-jump from Shelbert. And, I mean, you would expect Bud to hit that second touch just because they have that dribbling capabilities, but the wherewithal to go to the fake. Kickoff nearly results in another goal as well, and second 3-goal game in a row for this UON side. They are looking very dominant. Emirates actually probably could have dropped that one in, instead went for the backboard, so... Is UON now starting to have a little bit of fun with this one, or was that just a missed opportunity?
I feel like it was a missed opportunity. I feel like this team, or at least when we've spoken to the players in the past, they seem pretty humbled. They seem to just play the game as best they can, no matter how many goals they're up by. So I feel like they've had a few shaky moments, but we're definitely seeing a lot more shaking out of AEL.
It's not like Tadagane, who will just break rotation because he gets bored and wants to score some goals. It is a case of, this team staying focused, and this is the game to stay focused with. Again, once you're in the playoffs, then maybe we could see some more fun strats, but right now UON still needs to win this series to secure it, and it doesn't look like they're taking any chances. Another awkward miss. Shelbert a little bit kind of goofy out there, and it leads to a double commit to the corner. Speedy gets credit for the goal.
Yeah, definitely not feeling like anybody's purposefully falling out of rotation to demo chase or switching to KVM instead of controller, so it is feeling like everybody is at least focused. They're here to play the game. They're here to play as best as they can. Unfortunately for ANU, it's just seeming like UOM are really switched on tonight.
They really are, and they're going to get another one off the kickoff. 5-1 lead. I feels like game 2 is done and dusted at this stage already. UON. This is the bounce back again. Was looking to see, and I do wonder if we'd seen this UON against UTS, how that series would have gone, because they look like a completely different team this week.
Oh yeah, that's actually really tricky to call because UON definitely weren't playing at their best last week. I think we've seen better out of UTS as well. It was a tight series to kind of to call or to judge, and a lot of the games were back and forth, kind of going from one team dominating one game to the other dominating the next. But I feel like UTS, they're really good at adapting. They just match another team's energy, and if UON were playing like this against them tonight, I wouldn't be too surprised if UON took game 1 and then game 2 UTS managed to match them. It's just the kind of team that they seem to play.
I will say this as well, though. If you want to lose your moniker of being like the most snake-bitten team, not really the better way to do it. I mean, I can't really argue ANU has let opportunities slip away. They just haven't created any for themselves this time around. 20 seconds left in this opening game. ANU, a reminder that they need to win this series to stay mathematically alive in the playoff hunt. And unfortunately for them, they're now going to have to reverse sweep against our number 2 seeded team. As the timer ticks away, ANU starts their desperation run with a UON team 1 game away from a playoff spot.
That is super tricky. ANU now having to reverse sweep the team in this league that is known for reverse sweeping other teams. UON have had their opportunity like that on numerous weeks. They've been taken to game 3, and they've been 2 down. They've had to reverse sweep, and I don't know. I think it's going to be a really hard ask, but we've seen UON do it, so maybe ANU is going to take a leaflet out of their book.
Fingers crossed. Maybe ANU can piece it together, but I don't know. UON, this is pretty peak form coming from the New South Wales University, although not University of New South Wales. Still, we got one more potentially ready to go. I'm just looking at the stats. 14 shots to 2, Morgie. That's brutal.
14 shots to 2. That's what I meant by it, and I feel like a lot of those shots were taken at the start of the game for me, because it felt like, when I said the score was surprising, it was 2-1 UON to ANU. It felt like it was, I hate to say it, but it felt like it was 10-1. ANU were just pushed back to defense for, I reckon, like 90% of that game. It was hard for them to get any actual opportunities in offense themselves. So hoping they can bounce back a little. They're a team that, we've seen week on week. It's just been so heartbreaking for how close they have come in so many series. So to go out like this would be devastating.
It would be. Kickoff nearly, though, continues that devastating trail. It's only the second touch that finds it. 5 seconds into game 3. UON, they're already on victory's path.
Speedy, just too speedy for Hazard there. He maybe should have dodged, flipped into that ball and could have potentially made it in time, but Speedy did get it around him. We're going to see the kickoff again go the way of ANU. A setup for Speedy as well, a shot, but nobody there to follow up the block.
Not initially, at least. Still, though, plenty of time left on the clock, but once again, I'm watching UON control the middle of the field. I'm watching ANU just forced to play so much of this game on their backboard, or at least just in front of it. Either way, a deep demo from Hazza might help Ultimate Duck, but there's just too many defenders still in the way. Big miss from Bud opens the door, but it's a pinch that closes it shut.
I think the thing I would love to see from ANU right now, like I said, their synergy doesn't seem quite right. They don't know how to play with each other right now. I would love to see Shelbert just throwing himself into offense, like jump for the ball, intimidate the players, do whatever you do to just throw off the way that play is flowing at the moment.
Oh my!
Great pass out of Ultimate Duck though, beats it over 2 on the backboard. Really clean pass to Hazza. Hazza gets a nice shot in.
That pass from Duck out of the corner, getting 2 defenders to bite. I know there hasn't been many ANU highlights today, but that might be the goal of the series so far. And it's enough to equalize, at least for now. To go back to your previous point, though, in regards to Shelbert, I think it's hard for Shelbert. Their confidence looks rattled. I've been seeing a lot of unforced errors, a lot of missed challenges like that. And to tell yourself, that's okay, I'll get the next one, I'll continue to play aggressive, can be hard when you've had so many whiffs.
Oh, absolutely. It can be really tricky. And I think that lack of confidence, I'm not too surprised coming into the season so late. Maybe we saw Shelbert week 1 or maybe week 1 or week 2. Like I said, we haven't seen Shelbert in weeks, and I feel like that can... It was week 1.
Oh no, Speedy!
Like that can be really detrimental to the confidence when you've gone so many weeks not necessarily, maybe even not feeling like a part of this team. Oh, we're going to see a close shot that doesn't quite go in.
There's been a couple goals left on the table this game, though, for UON. I mean, that's the second open net miss I've seen come from this side. Granted, the first one was responded immediately with the next such goal, but still, scoreline probably should be 2-1, and we have been seeing a much more aggressive playing ANU right now, back against the wall. I mean, to their credit, Haz is now starting to get demos. We have seen Shelbert playing a little bit further forward than we have in the past. They've made some adjustments, Morgie, and the result is a tie game, at least at this point.
Absolutely, and this is the aggression they needed. 2 games ago, even last game, would have done them a world of difference against this UON side. UON do play aggressively. They're very calculated about their moves, but they are speedy, they are aggressive. And definitely against a side like ANU, we've seen them be a little bit slower, a little bit more passive maybe against sides like AES or UNSW. But in a series like this, they are aggressive, and your ANU's only response here is to match that.
And so far, they've done a decent job at it. Granted, I'm still catching moments of hesitation, particularly when Duck, is able to get 2 defenders to bite. The third striker is just never necessarily there. And it seems like they are trying to encourage Shelbert to be that opportunistic player with Asa sitting back. And while that's improved their defense, there's been offensive opportunities that have come up a little bit short. Still tie game, though. All you need is one good touch for ANU, and they can keep your season alive.
Thing I'm noticing as well now, it seems like Hazza has stepped up tremendously from the first 2 games. I feel like Hazza's making a lot of difference right now. We've seen some great saves out of him. We've seen more shots as the series goes on, some great passes as well. He's just seeming a lot more warmed up, and I think that's playing in Ultimate Duck's favor.
I mean, they've also kind of swapped roles, Shelbert and Hazza. Like, before it was Hazza frequently the second member and was hesitant, not afraid, like a little bit afraid to commit. Shelbert, in this third game at least, has been more willing to throw themselves at the ball as the second member, with Hazza more confident on defense, where we saw a lot of unforced errors from Shelbert before. So I think this was the adjustment we needed to see game 2. They waited till game 3. They've definitely made it a lot more competitive as a result. They still haven't gotten that go-ahead touch, that magical goal to keep them in this series. They haven't given it up yet either, although we've seen a couple open net misses from the UON side. It's been very close.
It's very close indeed, and we're seeing more and more of that kind of physical play as well. We've seen demos coming out of both sides right now, desperate to do anything to throw defense out of whack. But both teams holding really solid. I can't believe this is still a tied game. We've gone after both games having been such high scoring games, especially from your side, to be at 1-1 right now with less than 30 seconds left is shocking.
That was a great touch from Shelbert, actually. Completely slows the attack off. 20 seconds left in regulation. UON, they want to force the shot. The pass was deep, and it's a double commit. Doesn't matter. Speedy not fast enough to turn it into the strike. 10 seconds to go. Duck with boost, leading the charge off the roof. Can he turn it into a shot? Not quite. Emirates has to go over the top of Shelbert. Ball is kept alive on the wall. You've got Bud in the middle. Emirates going forward. The pass, the save to the corner. Double commit. That will clear it down. We go to OT.
If we had some extra time just then, the ball was sent down into offense for ANU. They could have had an opportunity on net there. But yet we go to OT. We've got the reset on kickoff. Again, the ball just kind of stuck in the middle with both teams right now.
Oh.
You see Shelbert get a massive clear. This is exactly what ANU need right now. Ultimate Duck with a pinch off the roof as well, but it gets saved on the goal line.
And then tries to slow it down. I would have liked the increase of tempo in that position. Hazza swings and misses. And now we're seeing a return to the Game 1 formation that has not given ANU success in the past. back on that defensive line. Bud will opt to rotate back, give Duck some space, who makes one defender miss, not the second. Hazza now the follow-up, loses out to Bud. Shelbert, third member, slow roll, can't get it to Duck. Now it's a counter the other direction. Blue stolen, pass to the middle, but it was a double commit. Had Bud played patiently, that could have been a goal.
Oh my god, UON starting to panic a little bit, maybe wanting to close out this series, wanting to get the sweep, have it over and done with, set their spot off in playoffs, but they're being really challenged by ANU right now. ANU are not going to let them go down without a fight, and we are still tied up.
ANU needs to win this game to keep their playoff hopes in one piece. Oh, everyone's missing the ball now. Pressure definitely building. It does eventually go UON's way. Bud, to try to end it, can't get it around the Duck.
Yeah, Ultimate Duck playing so well right now. Oh, gets a really nice block as well. Hazza with a nice touch on the wall, trying to keep control of it. Gets a dunk on Bud. Speedy getting challenged by Shelbert. Oh, UON are really pushed back into defense, really being challenged hard right now.
Bud just wants to try to sneak it through. Hazza, though, was able to rotate back. I'm noticing hesitation, though, more and more on the UON defense. They've been more and more afraid to challenge. And now Duck with a chance. No, it's a whifty. As Bud does get the 50 advantage over Shelbert. Hazza plays keep away. Bud, no boost. It's a double commit. And Duck found the touch. That would have been game. Instead, we go to the red side of the field.
Oh my god, Formal. So many opportunities, so many great saves, such impeccable defense being played by both sides right now.
No!
We're seeing so many shots on net, just going a little bit wide as well. A bump on net though, and Evidence scores a top bins, top right corner. Game over, series over. They have pretty much secured, I think they have secured their spot in playoffs now.
That's how UON goes in the playoffs, and it was hesitation on all three ANU members. One on the backboard, two in the net, and that's all she wrote. ANU's playoff chances, well, they're done and dusted, I'm sorry to say. Mathematically eliminated, we'll still get to play next week, but for UON, with that victory, congratulations, our second team to qualify into the playoffs.
Oh, I am gutted for ANU. I'm really proud of UOM for their performance there. They showed that they were the dominant side. They got us another sweep in this tournament, which has been lacking in most weeks, to be honest. Like we said, we haven't had too many sweeps, so that's exciting to see. But ANU, they played so well in that third game. They kept it so close. They took it to OT despite how the first two games went. If they played like that in the first two games, I'm sure this series would have had a complete different story. So I'm so gutted for them. That's so heartbreaking.
It is rough. It is rough for that side, but it is also only our first game, and we have another team that has already secured the playoffs, about to go up against a team that is on that outside looking in. It would be a massive upset, but it's one that would do QUT a lot of flavors. They're going to be up against the University of New South Wales after a quick break. Welcome back. Game one in the books. And I feel like every time we queue this guy up for an interview, UON chokes it away, but not this time. The man, the myth, the legend, Bud, joining us here after a playoff securing victory. First of all, congratulations, man. You've done it. You're in the top four.
Thank you.
You guys played really well tonight. How did you feel going into this series? Because obviously there was a lot on the line. The risk of not getting into playoffs, I guess, on the line. But I don't know. How'd you feel?
We're confident. We're very confident for today's match.
So, look, last week probably wasn't the best example of this, and I know I came into the Elite Series late, but everyone's been talking you up. This is a new Bud. This is an improved Bud. The mechanics are finally there. The consistency is finally there. So what's changed between past splits and this split? Why does everyone suddenly believe in Bud now?
Well, just a lot of training. in the background, I play basically every day, making sure I'm consistent, playing free play more often. Yeah.
Free play, definitely good practice. I think, yeah, it was in the first game straight off the bat. You got a hat trick, and Formal was sitting here going, "What's happening? This is the bud we've all been talking about." I think you played really well. Are you doing like any training packs or anything as well? Or?
Oh, just a bit of everything. This week I've changed controllers because last week my controller didn't feel good. This week I've changed back to one of my old ones, and yeah, I'm back good again.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, I have to ask the question about the Twitch chat, the Bud fan club. I don't think there's been any player in AEL, including, some of the pros who have come through here, has had quite the fanfare support that you've had throughout the few years you've been doing this. Where do they come from? Like, is it just IRL friends? Is it like a university class project to try and follow you everywhere? What's happening?
It's my friend. It's a bit of everyone. Like friends I talked to online for the last couple of years. My friends from like Six Mans, from the uni, just a bit of everyone.
No, I love to hear it. The support's really good to see, and yeah, seeing the chat get into it always makes it a lot of fun. I guess the one thing that I do want to ask is, despite the playoff spot being secured, you are going up against UNSW next week.
Yep.
And they haven't dropped a series yet, but we've seen both USID and UTS take a game off them. You guys think you're going to take the series?
We'll give it a shot. Hopefully we can get 2 games off them, be the one team to get to. But yeah.
Obviously, you would like to kind of steal that number 1 seed away from them as well going into this, but does it make it a little bit less pressure knowing that you don't need to win that series for the playoff spot, and that, just based on the situation now, very likely you will be playing against them again in the finals, assuming you're able to win out?
Yeah, it's not that stressful next week. We can try things, try little different play styles, see what works, what players work better against them. So when we do have to verse them in grand final, if we make it there, we could give it our best shot and win.
Right. Well, we'll give you, all the time in the world then to prepare for it. Again, one more time, congratulations on that victory, and look forward to seeing you play next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
There was Bud. Very humble, considering the fanfare that surrounds him, which is always good to hear, Borgie. I always get a little bit nervous, but they do have a tough task next week against the current undefeated University of New South Wales. They've only dropped 2 games in 5 best-of-5 series, and going into their 6th right now, they're about to play a QUT team that is desperate for a win.
Oh, absolutely. But I guess just on that, I feel like that's the best approach to going into next week, given that the spot is secured, to kind of test the waters a little bit, because we've seen UNSW week on week are just so solid. They're so hard to challenge. We've had, like I said, a couple of teams who have taken a game off them, but that is a difficult feat. That is someone. I think the first game loss with UTS, like I said, Steve was lagging. The game loss last week against USID, they just didn't seem to quite be playing themselves.
They didn't even have Steve.
They didn't even have Steve last week. Although even then, like it's still a strong side. But I feel like that's a good approach going up against them, trying to kind of feel out the waters, try and work out what way you can challenge this team, because they are just a force to be reckoned with.
And unfortunately for QUT as well, to kind of add to that mountain to climb, a sub coming in here today. No Trop coming in for Mac, I believe. So we're not going to get the Mac and Jack combo. It's going to be No Trop instead, which really makes me hesitant to feel confident in this QUT side.
Yeah, that is tricky. I mean, we've seen No Trop play, I think, once or twice. And definitely a good player. Definitely I'm not too worried about the team not gelling tonight. I think that they still will be playing well, but that does scare me losing Mac, because we've talked about it every week. We've got that Mac and Jacko combo. They just know where each other, they could be blindfolded and they know where each other are on the field to find those passes, to get those top bin shots. So it's more the fact that Mac is missing that scares me.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit spooky. I mean, the one good thing for QUT, and this is like the good thing about the worst case scenario, realistically, I should say, they have a match against USID next week, which they will be favorites for, assuming their whole roster is there. So not the worst thing in the world if they lose this one, pardon me. But you still want to try and win every series you can, and an upset over the University of New South Wales would all but guarantee them a spot in the playoffs as well. So they've got something to play for. For the University of New South Wales, I mean, realistically, this is a game to secure either the first or second seed. Overall, it's a chance to keep their undefeated streak going. They are the defending champs. There's so many reasons why this red side is going to be favorites in this matchup. But without further ado, let's make our way down to the pitch. Game number 1 is underway.
QUT would definitely still want to do some damage today, because even against USID, like I said, USID, aside from UTS, USID's the only other side who has managed to take a game off UNSW so far. So although, like, leaderboard-wise, QUT would be going into that match as the favourites, I don't know, USID have been looking really red hot the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they have been. And I mean, we'll see if they can turn that to a victory. But well, first we'll see how they handle today in their match at the end against UOM. I kind of like their chances in that, but feeling outstaged so far. First 30 seconds, we haven't seen a goal scored yet, so not really New South Wales matching that UOM aggression we saw before. But with this lineup back at full strength, I mean, I do expect this to be a very controlling game from the New South Wales side.
Yeah, definitely. We're already seeing the ball really pushed into QUT's half. At the start of this match, we've seen a few unfortunate whiffs, a couple out of no trop, a couple out of front. Probably still not quite warmed up into this series, and I can't blame them. Coming up against UNSW is a daunting task, so you know, maybe there's a few nerves, maybe they're just trying to play carefully, but you can't play too carefully. You can't take the ball along the goal line like that when Diggs is sitting so close.
Yeah, front just... I really wanted to play that one out of the corner, but unfortunately that angle not fast enough. And New South Wales, if anything, they're going to be an opportunistic team. The second you make a play, you know, a little bit out of sorts, a little bit not quite, you know, perfect, dare I say, they're going to get punished for it. Case in point, we see it again. Diggs this time underneath the defender to make it 2-0.
I feel like with such a big hitbox on this car as well, trying to go up against Diggs in a 50 is probably not going to go your way most of the time, especially when we see other cars like for example the Dominus on the field as well, going up against with the Dominus having such a flat hitbox, going up against such a big hitbox, these probably aren't going to go their way.
We'll see if this, you know, good trend will continue. Still 2-0, and now Steve has a chance to make it 3. An uncharacteristic miss. Was really trying to lead the defense on. Who does double commit, but it's the two members on the starting roster that double commit as now Steve. Bit of a bicycle kick setup. I think we're not even 2 minutes into this game, and New South Wales is already looking to have fun with this one.
Yeah, definitely. We're starting to see a few bumps, a few challenges. Diggs now in net, but Steve comes into the save as well. We're going to see a shot out of no trop, manages, again the ball gets saved, though. I feel like UNSW, it's one of their specialties. They're just so good on the goal line. Even when other teams do have opportunities against them, they're so ready for every shot that comes their way.
And now we're at the stage as well in this event where it's like, I feel like, again, New South Wales, your favorites. You've been dominant in the season so far. You've already secured the playoffs. This would be the kind of game where you could see them almost get too casual and maybe make that mistake and give away a game or two. But to give away a series, it still just seems unlikely, especially against a sub. Crazier things have happened, but I don't know. Especially if you're already starting to play a bit more, you know, for fun strats only 2 minutes into the first game. I feel like QUT is going to get their chances eventually as Diggs nearly puts in a third.
There's a part of me that agrees, but the other side of me thinks that after losing a game against UCID last week, being the second week in a row, I feel like they would come into this kind of, you know, heads down, we're not letting that happen again. But that's going to be tricky. They're going to have to pull it together because we're starting to see some shots sink from QUT as well.
I mean, that was just a good pass from front back to Jacko, and what I loved about that pass was it was away from the net, meaning the defense had to burn more boosts to try to get there in time. Shorter distance for the strike leads to faster play, leads to a 1-2 game.
Absolutely. We're going to see a demo on Steve now throw UNSW into a 2v3 situation, but QUT not quick enough to capitalize on that. We're going to see a massive pass off the roof from no trop to Jacko though, but unable to score off the opportunity.
And it's going to be Tatagane who puts it in. 3-1 lead. And just like that, that 2-goal cushion is reaffirmed. I mean, it was a good pass from Jacko. The problem was it went to the attacking side.
It did indeed. Minute 45 left. 3-1 UNSW's way. We've seen this time and time again. UNSW with early leads, putting other teams down. We're going to see Tatagane look for the pass off the roof right now. Gets a nice touch, but Jacko there for the clean.
Jacko wants to take this midfield. Diggs going to get some boost away. Steve with the challenge loses out to front. Wants to find Jacko. They don't connect. He says it's going to be Notrop who finally gets an offensive touch. We really haven't seen much of Notrop so far in this one. They have been there. Don't get me wrong. Jacko's the one, though, who will get their second goal.
Yeah, Jacko super speedy on the fly here. Managed to outpace Steve, who did have 0 boost. I mean, Jacko got down to 0 boost as well. Really nice cleanup on that shot.
Needed one as well, because now we're in that situation again where all of a sudden, hey, it's a 1-goal game. QUT find a way back in this, perhaps, especially with the way how Jacko has been playing. Instead, though, it will be Steve who takes it away back to that blue side of the field. Just over a minute remaining, and again, you know, trying to respond to a goal in kind. It seems like New South Wales really want that 2-goal cushion. They're not going to get it straight away this time around.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if you were right before about UNSW kind of, like, not relaxing, I guess, but playing that little bit more casually in this game because of their secured spot already, I feel like that kind of feeling has dissipated after 2 of Jacko's shots being such great shots. UNSW starting to sweat a little bit more now.
And then Steve will just do that to you. Very fortunate it doesn't go in the net because Steve made everybody miss on the setup. Pass to Tatagane. The pinch to get that power. Yeah, Steve has kind of awoken in the final half minute of this one. I feel it's a matter of time before we see a crazy goal.
Steve has decided he has had enough and he wants that, like you said, that extra goal cushion because they're not wanting to drop this game. They're not wanting to drop a series, but they're definitely not wanting to drop another game, it feels like. And yeah, that Tata and Steve combo is dangerous for them.
It really is, and, well, the duo is going to be enough to give themselves a game victory. It's going to go 3-2 in favor of our red side. Ball around the corner does not touch the bottom yet. Eventually, though, Diggs will escort it down. So game number 1 goes to New South Wales. A bit of a challenge from Jacko and co, but not enough to get the victory.
Yeah, not enough to get the victory in game 1, but it's definitely feeling like QUT are building up a bit of a fire here. They're definitely wanting, obviously, they're wanting to take games off UNSW. And I definitely feel that they have the opportunity to do so. To keep the series to keep the game so tight at the end, for the game to only be 3-2, 1 goal difference, I think is a good start.
It's a good start, but will it continue? I mean, we're now in that situation which so many teams find themselves in against New South Wales where technically it's not a do-or-die game, but a reverse sweep against New South Wales I feel like is as good as done so. If QUT is going to be having a competitive series, I want to see them take game number 2. We'll see if they can get to that stage as we get close to getting in right now, Morgie. Just taking a step back, though, I have to ask, what would be the strategy to beat New South Wales?
What would be the strategy to beat New South Wales? That's tricky. I was gonna say I feel like QUT were playing well, but front was a little bit quiet in my mind. I think we've seen more solo players come out of QUT in the past, and I think front is the player to do that. If they are able to do that a little bit more in the second game, maybe it'll throw UNSW slightly out of rotation, although they do rotate back quickly when they are in danger.
We'll see.
I think honestly, I think we need more physical play. We need more demos, but QUT need to be ready to capitalize on that. They need to comment well. They need to, we need to have.
You know who's good at getting demos on this team is Mac.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. Well, they need to channel their inner Mac.
Yeah.
They need to put those shots on. Throw a player out of defense, make it a 2v3, and then be there ready to capitalize on that.
Well, we'll see. Maybe they'll find some way to do it. I mean, I like this challenge from front. It opens up the net. Shot comes from Notrop, but needed more height. Falls right on a boostless Steve. A very unfortunate breakaway opportunity. This will go unanswered. And now, 1 minute into this game, still no goals scored, but New South Wales, they're looking to establish themselves middle of the pitch.
Yeah, a little bit scary there on that opportunity as well, seeing Notrop and front both both go after that ball. I'm sorry, not No Trop and Jacko both went up the ball. Kind of caused a little bit of a double commit situation. We know UNSW are speedy. They cannot let them have that counter attack opportunity. So just gotta be careful on that.
No Trop swings and misses. Here comes Diggs. Jacko wanted to challenge but doesn't have the boost to do so. The possession goes back in favor of the New South Wales side. Demos stops the awkward rotation, and that's actually going to force New South Wales back. Front doing a lot of work, and you wanted to see more solo plays. Front has adjusted their playstyle and is, frequently up there challenging this game.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I was speaking to the wrong team there, calling out the need for demos and a quick capitalization on the demos. No Trop very quickly taken out there. Jacko had already flipped as well, so couldn't get back to the goalpost in time. And we have our first goal for the game going to UNSW.
Yeah, it took a little bit longer this time around, and I've seen more sense of life from this QT side. I actually think, they have a chance if they continue to play like this. Unfortunately, as soon as they get that goal behind, it becomes that much more difficult until you get the second goal, and that's when New South Wales starts to ease up. But until they get that 2-goal cushion, I expect New South Wales to continue to really try and be aggressive.
Oh, absolutely. And just the synergy that comes on off this New South Wales side. They know where each other are. I think I've said this before, but I feel like the duo kind of is Tartagane and Steve, well, at least was in past seasons, but Diggs has come a long way as a player and is a really core part of this roster now. He's always in the right position. He's always there at the right moment, at the right time. He's got some incredible up-and-coming mech as well, but it's his positioning that I'm a really big fan of.
And I think this game so far has actually really highlighted it up to this point right now. They are coming through and looking so good through so much of this, as we're going to see No Trop try to get that one across Tartagane. Down to Diggs, shut down by Jacko. Still fall back to Steve. Jacko again tries to go over the top, but not really quite there. Tartagane wants to play the corridor. Going to try to turn this into a shot. Diggs just outside the box, but won't turn it into a...
Yeah, Jacko looking a little bit awkward there, but manages to get the touch to keep UNSW out just for a moment longer, but Front's going to get caught in the corner. Massive pass off Steve. Pass to Tartagane, and Diggs. Shot just blocked in time though.
Only 2 minutes remaining. With 2 goals down, we're going to have to see QT get back on that attacking side, and, well, unfortunately, it goes the other way. Steve does it himself with the dunk, and it's now 3-0 in favor of New South Wales.
And Steve getting the block, kind of passing to himself, reading that ball down from the roof perfectly. They're definitely not the easiest of reads, but Steve, having as much experience as he does as a player, especially competitively, knows how to read a ball like that.
That was a good shot from Steve, and I mean, I do feel like a 3-goal deficit is enough to kind of put a game out of reach, unfortunately, for QT, with how lights out New South Wales has been playing, especially in this second game. We haven't seen as many of the for fun shots. It's been deep rotations, yes, at times, but it's been clean rotations. Nothing too crazy from the red side, just strong fundamental rocket.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like, honestly, a lot of weeks... Oh, what a shot from Diggs. A lot of weeks we've seen UNSW kind of, we have seen them kind of play a little bit more casually or not take it super seriously, super competitively. So I think over the last couple of weeks, they're definitely not wanting to falter anymore. Yeah, what an incredible mechie shot off Diggs.
It was good to see, and maybe we will see more. As time continues to down front. It's a nice demo on Tartagane. Maybe that could open something up. No, Steve's still controlling the middle of the pitch like he always seems to do in the net. It looks so open, but there's no one on the ball. A little bit awkward there. 1 minute remaining. I don't see 4 goals. I'm looking at game 3 right now, and I'm just really worried for this QUT side.
No, I definitely don't blame you, QT. Looking like you're in a dangerous spot going into game 3. You know, in the position where if they want to win this series, they've got a reverse sweep. It's not the position they want to be in. I would say, you know, it's all possible against any other side, but getting a reverse sweep against, getting a reverse sweep full stop is hard. Getting it against UNSW is near impossible.
Demos in front of the net, but no goal to be found. A physicality from both sides during the dying seconds of this game, and yeah, as you're saying, I mean, this is the return to form, I think, for New South Wales, who, as we kind of mentioned, you know, gave up that game last week. wasn't their cleanest game. I think they struggled a bit in playing around Kazi, but that's okay. This is, you know, more the lineup we're going to expect to see from them moving forwards, and it's not a surprise that they're dominating thus far.
Oh, absolutely. And this scares me going into playoffs. I feel like UNSW playing like this is a terrifying thought for the teams who are sitting in that second, third, fourth position. Yeah, I think they're definitely playing really well tonight. They are playing clean. They're playing clinically. They're scoring when they need to score. They're not mucking around. And I feel like that'll be terrifying for a lot of teams going into playoffs.
I think it will be too, and we'll see though. We'll see though if they can keep it all the way to game, because game 3 is normally where we start to see, you know, some of the for fun play rear its head. So I'm not convinced that we're not going to see that in this next one, especially after, you know, a dominant showing there in that second game. But I can't help but wonder what the series would look like had we seen the proper physical QT side, you know, that Mac and Jack combo. Not that, you know, there's nothing against no Trop in this situation, but it's not the QUT that's earned themselves to the position that they're in right now, if that makes sense. It's not been like the definitive QUT team with one of the most solid identities in this tournament.
Yeah, no, I definitely tend to agree. It's not that No Trop isn't playing well. They're definitely keeping up, but it's not the usual roster, and that can really throw a team out of whack. I feel like any week where we've seen subs come in, we're either going to see a super sub come in and absolutely dominate the field and put everyone in their positions, or if we're not in a situation where we're seeing a super sub, we're seeing teams feel a little bit awkward and not quite knowing how to play with one another. So we're getting a little bit of that today, but we're also missing that Mac there.
Diggs should have scored that. That net was open. That was a triple commit.
Ooh.
And this is what I was talking about before coming into this game, Morgie. It's game 3 when things get a little bit weird.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that now. That is not the kind of commit we would expect to see out of UNSW on a good day, let alone these last couple of games that we've seen them play. I feel like that was a lot less clinical than the first 2 games. But, you know, QT being 1 up with 15 seconds, they need to hold this lead now. It'll be hard with UNSW coming at them with as much fire as they are starting to already.
Yeah, Diggs is going to go ahead, get that second one, so now we're going to be sitting 1 all. Good response. Tadagane popped it up, and it was a case of Diggs just putting it through. So tie ball game, 1 apiece. Doesn't take too long for New South Wales to respond to their first deficit of the series.
UT scores a goal in the first 15 seconds. UNSW turns around and goes, nah, we'll do it in the next 12 seconds instead. So definitely not going to let QT get much of a lead on them so early in the game, but we've still got plenty of time left, more than 4 minutes left. Anything can happen, especially if UNSW do let the foot off the gas.
We'll see how they do. Tadagane wants to get things a little bit centered, but it's Jacko who's still going to be playing keep away. Tadagane underneath. Gets demoed actually, sets up Jacko, but Jacko's not able to put it through. Still 4 minutes left in this one. Steve goes up, doesn't come down. Tadagane down to Diggs. They don't connect, and there's no Trop, or not Rop, whichever you want to call it, kicking a big go-ahead goal.
I feel like that was strange to me, Formal, because that didn't feel like mucking around. That just felt like a mistake. That felt like a missed play. Maybe Carter didn't get the touch on it he wanted to. Maybe Diggs pushed up a little bit too far, a little bit further than Tata had expected. But that didn't feel like casual mucking around. That felt like a mistake out of UNSW, which is rare to see.
It was pretty great, and see if that can continue. As at the moment, though, just looking at a lot of red cards committing, and double and triple committing, and then it gets a little bit awkward. Not Trop again with the beat, nearly sent up Jacko. A 2-goal lead for QUT would be massive in their chances of taking this third game, and I'm just loving how they are so relentless in attacking the ball.
Oh, absolutely. And another shot. That is the kind of, those are the kind of angles that we expect to see out of Jacko. The power on that shot as well, manages to send it straight into the top left of the goal. Really, really out of reach of UNSW's defenders there. UNSW starting to look rattled, and if they want to hold this game together, they've got to do something now before UT get away with it.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, it was pretty chaotic from both teams, that last goal. More demos in the net. Jacko sets up front. Oh, can't quite squeeze it through. it would be a massive 3-goal lead as again, we're just seeing QUT players attack. Jacko through the corner, it's front underneath, shots on, but it's going to go wide. However, New South Wales has no boost, Morgie. They can't get the touch, the bumps, but still no shot.
I'm not going to say I called it, but the demos are doing wonders for QUT right now, putting them in some great positions and getting UNSW players out of the net, out of any defensive positions where they are able to save the goals. But, UNSW are also going to go on the attack themselves, and when Steve can flick it like that to Tata, Jacko's got to be there to save it.
Yeah, still though, defense is back, and we'll see how long they can hold off. Steve, what was that? What a shot from Steve! Takes advantage of the demo to put it in. It's a 1-goal game.
What a shot! that's one of the highlights of our night so far, for sure. That was, I don't even know, what do you call that? What, like?
I have no idea, and I'm hoping we get an interview maybe with Steve to figure that out, or at least someone on the team, because that was a trippy shot right there. Either way, still only a 1-goal game now. So more work to be done for New South Wales if they want that sweep, but it's another showcase of what happens when this team starts to play more at their peak, how efficient and how scary they can become.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like Steve just decided to flip a switch just then. I'm gonna, score a wicked shot on QUT and show them who I am as a player. That was awesome to see. Definitely seeing a lot more of UNSW shine right now, but UT is still up by 1 goal. UNSW has got a way to go.
And I can confirm, it is Diggs who we'd be interviewing. New South Wales get the win, so maybe Diggs knows. Maybe Diggs can ask Steve for us. Either way, it is going to be Steve getting the equalizer. 1.5 minutes to go, and we are tied here in Game 3.
We've had Diggs every week. We usually speak to Diggs. I don't think we've spoken to Steve or...
I don't think I've ever had an interview with Steve, now that I think back. It's always been Diggs or Tatakane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, we have had Tata. We just haven't spoken to Steve. We have spoken to Kazi as well. Maybe that was last season. Oh,
yeah, no, I don't think we've ever had Steve for an interview.
No, we haven't. We've got to do that at some point.
As well. I've never had an interview with Steve.
No, can't be bothered with it. Wants to just focus on the game. Fair enough. I can't believe we've equalised in a matter of blinking.
Oh, well.
And I spoke too soon for we are already up by another goal from UNSW.
Kind of saw this one coming. Again,
Yeah.
Aggressive boost stealing and an aggressive challenge. 90% of that field was open. Tatakane just had to hit it straight, and it was going to be a New South Wales lead. 1.3 minutes to go. QUT, they had the 2-goal cushion. Unfortunately, it wasn't a very good one. The Kmart bargain bin special. And now, with under 1 minute to go, what can they do to get themselves back?
I love how we could really see how quickly UNSW was able to adapt there. QUT managed to get a couple of goals off UNSW because they were playing aggressively, they were boost stealing, they were demoing whoever was sitting in net for UNSW, and it resulted in a couple of goals and a temporary lead for them. UNSW, in a matter of a minute, really managed to adapt to that, turn it around, and flip the game back on its head, going the other way. Not quite enough of an opportunity there. We're seeing shots come out of QUT. They're desperate now. They need to score now. But it's looking like it's going to be tricky.
I don't see... Oh my gosh. Tatakane with a little bit of a musty through the corner, just trying to create some space. Last opportunity. Jacko has a chance here. 1v1 against Tata. Finds the lower corner. And with 4 seconds to go, perfect placement. Ties this game up.
Yeah, Diggs, unfortunately, just in the wrong spot there. Gets kind of dribbled by Jacko, who manages to, essentially get the 1v1 against Tata and score for QUT to keep them alive in this game. 4 seconds left. It's looking like it's going to go to OT, unless we can see a shot off here. Diggs sends it to the corner. The ball is still kept alive right now. We're going to see it taken down to the ground, though.
Here we go, 4-side. What can we see from both of these teams? Again, it is a must-win situation for QUT. However, here comes Steve to put it away. Goes for the dunk on Jacko. Doesn't find it. Tatakane presses forward as well. Third man Diggs. Draws up shot. Front dives back. Makes the save. Steve, though, drops it back for Tata. Wants the backboard. No drop. Misses. It's a triple touch to put it away. New South Wales sweep the series.
What a shot! What a pass from Steve as well to put that perfectly in the right position for Tana. Like you've said, 1, 2, 3 touches to get the ball off the backboard straight into net on such a tight angle. Hugely impressive for this team. Yeah, but I guess I'm not overly surprised. We've seen plenty of goals like that in the past, but always good to round off a series with a shot like that.
Watching that replay, I think the third touch came from Jacko, and then they instantly left the lobby. I think that was an own goal, Morky.
I didn't think it touched him, but I think maybe
it was a blue trail. It was.
Oh, that's unfortunate, but it's not like that's not a terrible own goal. That's not a that's
there's worse ones. There's worse ones. It's an unfortunate one, yes, but you know what? It was always going to be a tough ask for QT today, and the good news for them is no matter what, they're still going to be tied in that 4th place spot against whoever happens to come short in our next game. Our next game is the big one, and I would say it is the main event of the night. UTS Griffith University. Winner gets himself a 1-game advantage going into the final week with a chance to get in the playoffs. They'd be, locked in that number 3 position, but for the loser, it might come down to tie breaks or who knows what else. So do stick around 2 more games. But our big game is up next. One more competitive game when we return. Halfway through the day, Morgie, and for the first time since week number 1, we actually have had 2 sweeps in one day. Kind of crazy, I know. Maybe it's a sense of normalcy, but when it involves New South Wales, it's really not that surprising. Joining us for an interview now, it's going to be Diggs coming in. First of all, congratulations for the win. This win doesn't do much for you in the standings overall. It tends to happen when you're alone on top, but still, does it feel good to keep winning?
Of course, yeah. Feels great.
How did you guys feel in that series? Because there were moments, especially that third game, where things were looking a little bit tight. What changed?
Yeah, I mean, Jacko definitely has that sort of like peak potential where he can just kind of like pop off. So he was definitely able to get a couple moments like that where he just kind of outplays us a bit. But yeah, it wasn't like a consistent thing, and we were like able to just outplay them more often than not.
All right. Game 5, or Game 3, I should say, goal number 5. Steve's shot. I'm not sure if you remember that one, but if you do, is there a name for that shot that he hit right there? 'Cause I've not really seen a shot like that before.
Yeah. So yeah, as soon as he hit it, we were like, that's a Steve shot right there. So we call it the Steve shot. It's just any shot that Steve would hit. Like that.
So no, that's his own signature trick.
Shot?
Okay.
Yeah, he just scores weird shots. We just name it after him.
We were having a bit of a laugh about it on cast because it just happened so quickly, and we both were just left like what just happened? What was that? He drifted and then turned around backwards, flipped awkwardly, and
on an
like,
open net.
And for anybody else, it's awkward on an open net. Okay, yeah, that's actually a good point.
So does that make it no longer impressive because it's on an open net?
No, it's more impressive.
Yeah, true.
Actually, no, that's a fair
right,
point. Yeah, that is a fair point. No, fair enough.
At this stage, then, I have to ask, because you've pretty much gone up against every single team, obviously you have one more game next week against UON, but is there a team that you feel like, come playoffs, is going to be your biggest opponent, your biggest threat, or are you just confident against them all at this stage?
Not really. I mean, we've versed almost everyone so far, and no one's really posed much of a threat, to be honest. It will be interesting to play against UON, because I've heard Eminence is a pretty strong player, so it'll be cool to see how he plays, but still should be pretty much fine, I reckon.
And I guess kind of building off that question, do you ever like go back and listen to the interviews, and like we always ask, how do you feel about your chances against UNSW, and every team kind of goes, I don't know, they're scary. Does that ever get back to you? Does that ever get to your head? How does it feel to be that raid boss?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty funny. We don't feel too much pressure when we play. It's not like we have to win because like we're the better team. Like, we're just kind of having fun. So there's not really much pressure for us.
That's fair enough. Do you feel like going into playoffs, do you still keep that mindset where you're having fun, the nerves aren't really taking the best of you, or do you feel like things are a little bit more intense during playoffs?
Yeah, ideally, we'd like to be able to keep that same mindset. Like, obviously, there is a bit more pressure involved. But yeah, that's the aim. If we can get that sort of mindset, then that's good.
All right. Well, we'll see how that continues. Good luck next week against your series against UON. I don't think we've ever had a team go undefeated in the Elite Series. The top team always seems to drop that last round, Diggs. Just reminding you. So good luck for that last match.
Well, as long as Tada and Steve don't DC, then it should be all right.
All right.
No switching to KVM either.
No.
All right, we'll hold you to that. Thank you for joining us for this interview. And Morgie, we have done it halfway through the day. Always good to hear from that New South Wales side. But this next game coming up, this is the playoff implication game. This is the game that we're probably going to see one team punch their ticket very likely into the top 4 and another team possibly just miss out. It's going to be them or QUT. I mean, this is what we want, UTS versus Griffith. But before we get into that, I believe we have some sponsors to thank.
Of course. Without our sponsors, none of this would be possible. So we're very grateful for the fact that they do sponsor this league. Of course, we have AGON by AOC, the gaming monitor partner. who provide the best in-class monitor solutions for gaming and all other needs. And of course, we cannot forget Indomie, our noodle partner, made with high-quality flour and select ingredients and spices. A plate of Indomie mee goreng will certainly brighten up your day. Try any one of the flavors available today from your local grocer or at indomie.com.au. Oh, I have a piece of news, actually. Speaking of Indomie noodles, I hear there's a new flavor on the market. I think it's lime and veggie, which sound like at first I'm kind of like, oh, that's interesting, but I feel like that's right up my alley. I love lemon lime flavors. That sounds really good.
I mean, I use lime-infused olive oil whenever I'm doing stir fries, so I kind of feel like that is absolutely right up my alley as well. That's exciting, but what also is exciting, this upcoming matchup, UTS Griffith University, and again, two teams. One team has been here since the very beginning, the other one a new squad, yet there's only spot in the playoffs potentially for one of them. They're each 3-2 on the standings. Let's take a look at their lineups right now, because I mean, look, when you look at Griffith, ADOS, Exile, Ultraviolet, I mean, ADOS and Ultraviolet have been around for a good hot minute. Exile as well fits right into this team. But UTS, I'm still learning about this team every time I see them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I feel like UTS are missing... actually, I've just realized having Ascent in the mix. Ascent is technically their sub. They're missing Spring Hopak out of this lineup formal, which... Going into this series, both of these sides are strong. I would have slightly lent towards UTS, just because I feel like they've been playing really well. They've come into this league with a bang. They've got a point to prove. But Spring Hopak for me is probably arguably their standout player. Arguably the player, mumbling my words, arguably the playmaker of this team. So I'm a little bit worried for them losing him tonight.
I think they should be all right. I mean, we did see Ascent play last week and get that big win over UON, so I don't know how much of a downgrade it really is for Ascent, the sub, to be playing, but if they're missing their key playmaker, we'll see how that will affect them. I mean, Griffith University is the same roster you've been seeing pretty much all season long. It is their starting roster, but this Griffith team has had a lot of ups and downs, I feel like, through the season. They haven't been as consistent as we would kind of like from them. I think losing that Game 5 to UON definitely was not ideal, but they did barely get past ANU. I don't know. Griffith is a tough one for me, and if a team is to miss out, I mean, it would be unfortunate if it was Griffith, but I do feel like they are that team on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I think it does come down to the core rosters tonight. I think that Griffith, the fact that they've got their core roster, I would expect to see a bit of consistency out of them tonight. I'd expect to see them playing at their best. And just to echo what you said before, Ascent, played incredibly last week, but I feel like, again, there's that factor of not having your core roster and how that can affect the dynamic of a team. And that's what makes me worry for UTS. But definitely exciting seeing this series as, you know, in Series 1 of tonight, we had UON ANU, two losers against these two winning teams last week. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out victorious out of those four.
We will be watching, that is for certain. Here we go, though, moments away from kicking this one off. UTS will be on the blue side. Griffith will be in red. And again, both these teams 3-2 on the standings. A chance to go to 4-2, get past that guaranteed 500% mark. So you'll have a guaranteed winning record. And typically in events like this, the winning record guarantees you playoffs, especially when you have QUT now sitting 3-3. Will be tied for fourth with whoever loses this match. Here we go. Game's underway, and it's ADOS with the double. Can't quite sneak it in.
Oh, there's so much at stake for that middle pack of teams, and they really are sitting close. So definitely a scary thought to wonder how the games played tonight are going to affect those standings going into playoffs. Who has a secured spot? Who hasn't secured enough yet? This game is really do or die for both of these sides.
AEL's trying to force that one in. It's not quite going to get it. Instead, we come back up the other way. Shots on from Greasy. And the follow-up shot from Eschen, just not quite where it needed to be. So the Ascent is up a little bit shy. Two opportunities from each team right now. A little bit back and forth at the start. Ultraviolet way too high with that. But it's an open net for Exile, who just misses the ball.
Oh no, that was an unfortunate whiff. But Luckily, the commit, or wasn't necessarily an overcommit, didn't give UTS much of an opportunity to counter-attack there at the time off the back of the whip. We're seeing a pass now. Ascent sitting pretty deep as third man, manages to get a nice clear though. Miss off Exile as well. Pass off the backboard for Ascent. ADOS there to clean it up.
There we go. Gonna be Violet down underneath. Wanted to turn that into a shot, but wasn't quite able to finish the deal. It's Exile. Wants to rotate back corner. A chance down the middle. Greasy ran out of boost before they can get that delicate touch, and now through the corner. No real backup from the team because there's no real power to get it back to them, so everyone on the blue side will rotate back. Minute and a half into this one, Morgie. Very tightly contested match.
Yeah, definitely neither team wanting to give up any possession here, neither team wanting to give up any opportunity at a goal for the other side. So we're going to see the ball caught between both teams right now. Ultraviolet up on the wall, trying to get it past Stimpy, kind of fakes out the play there. Block does occur though, and we're just going to see the ball caught in the middle yet again this game.
Exile back corner, pass over to Ultraviolet, who swings and misses. ADOS takes advantage though to keep the attack moving forward, but with a nice defensive touch, momentum comes back the other way. Both teams, I mean, have been, really going back and forth, and now we're starting to see a bit of pressure coming from the UTS side. The double commit doesn't work, however, as ADOS takes it back the other way, puts a shot on. By the way, that's only our 4th shot of the game.
Only 4 shots, and we've had more than half of this first game happen already. It just speaks volumes to how both teams are holding possession in the midfield right now. We're seeing a lot of that midfield play. Only a couple of opportunities on net, but even then the shots have gone either too high, too wide, aren't accurate enough to result in a goal.
Exile! No! Can't quite sneak that through. Stimpy will kind of take it around the corner, but we are seeing a sustained attack coming from the Griffith side. ADOS, though, isn't able to get that second touch as the ball pinballs off the post, and now the attack goes back for UTS, at least into the middle of the field. I mean, both teams are starting to get more aggressive finally, Morgie. We're seeing them take more risks, but nothing is really working yet.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like what the one thing that's like sticking out to me from last week, and I'm pretty certain it was last week and not the week before, but it seemed like ADOS was just super unlucky, and right as I've said that, it's ADOS in particular last week. He's got the mech, he's got the play, he's got the strength as a player in these games. He's a really top player in this tournament. And I feel like lately, the last couple of weeks, we've seen 99% of the setup, even 99% of the play, and then just the 1% at the end, the slight millimeter miss on goal. But when ADOS isn't scoring, that's fine. We've got Ultraviolet here to put them up.
Oh, I love that scoop shot off the ground. Normally you see that off the roof, and I think it caught the UTS defense a little bit by surprise. Crazy back from Ultraviolet to get the power to put it in. Late lead for the Griffith side against a UTS team that's only put 3 shots on. I mean, convention says their defense should be able to hold this.
You would think so, but I wouldn't be surprised if UTS changed up their style all of a sudden and tried to fight their way back into this game. Exile going to take the ball off the wall, looking for a pass, gets it over Stimpy. A little bit too far though, a little bit too much power on that one.
All down the middle. ADOS plays keep away, still 35 seconds. Griffith, prime position to take this first game, only half a minute to go. UTS, where is that explosive attack that they were known for last week?
Yeah, it's hard to say, Formal. It's like, I feel like UTS aren't playing badly, but Griffith are just playing that little bit better right now. Just managing to keep the ball off UTS, managing to put pressure on them at the right time as well. Ultraviolet coming off the roof now, gets a pass, goes straight to Ascent though. Stimpy with a massive clear off the wall. Exile there to make sure that they don't do anything with it.
Ball hits the ground. Griffith gets the win. 1-0 for the Griffith side, both in the series and in that first game. Very, very tight. Very, very tight opening game, and that's shown in the shots. So only 6 shots for Griffith, 4 for UTS at the end. I mean, it was a defensive game. It was a bit back and forth, but when you look at the final 2 minutes, that's when Griffith really started to control the situation. We stopped being so back and forth, and from there, they just held on till the end.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the thing is, this UTS side, look, all of the saves have come out of Ascent, out of essentially who is our sub on this side. So that's interesting to see, but I think we may actually have Spring Hopak subbing in. Just as I've said, Ascent is playing very well and keeping this UTS team alive right now. We've got Spring Hopak. I don't know how that's going to affect the dynamics for them, because, as I said before, Spring Hopak is that star player on this roster for me. But given how Stimpy and Greasy were playing just then, I think they can play better. Maybe they play better with Spring, but I don't know about subbing Ascent off.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see the team's call. They're going to play with what they're most comfortable with. And, I mean, I can only see this as improvement just because, again, I was asking where's that explosive pop? Where's that attack? And, well, Spring Hopak is the one who brings it, right? So I think as long as they get that back in their favor, maybe they can get a win back in their favor as well. Would hate to go down 2-0 in such an important series. Now is the time to see what UTS is made of as we kick off game number 2.
Yeah, definitely you're right there. I think that was what they were missing, and maybe Spring Hopak will be exactly what UTS are needing right now. So far, we are pushed into their defensive half. You see Greasy take the ball up the center, getting a nice little dodge off that. Definitely better than we were seeing in the first game. Already off to a really good offensive start for UTS, but ADOS on the backboard just playing clinical defense right now.
Good little read from ADOS. Ball falls in front of the net. Swing and a miss from Ultraviolet, but there's no one there for the immediate shot. Stimpy puts it on. Greasy puts it in, and it's 1-0 off the unforced error.
Oh, that is so unfortunate for Griffith. Both players in who was that? That was Ultraviolet, and was that AOS or Exile who missed the initial ball, and then Ultraviolet just unable to get out of that awkward spot there. Definitely a big mistake.
Was awkward. That was just awkward. And I mean, look, if you're UTS, hey, first goal of the series, you're going to go ahead and take that lead, especially if things continue to stay low scoring. Maybe it's a lead they can hold on to here, Morky.
Yeah, maybe you might be right with that one, Formal. Oh, what play coming off Ultraviolet right now to fake out the defenders here. Exile with a challenge on the backboard as well, gets blocked by Spring Hopak. The ball's going to go down the way of UTS. Not quite, I've spoken too soon. ADOS with the shot gets blocked though.
Exile wants the centering touch, but defense all the way back. It's going to get the clear. Does that just go in? Nearly does. Ultraviolet has to make the save on no boost. And now maybe we get to see some Griffith attack as they're going to be a pass down to ADOS. Stimpy misses, and it's a tie ball game.
What a shot from ADOS as well to get that over defense into the top corner of net. Great pass from Ultraviolet. Yeah, ADOS gets it over not one, but 2 defenders to secure this tie.
Really, really well done. And off of that goal, tie ball game. We'll see if Griffith can continue or if UTS can bring it back. Now, I mean, what has me concerned is like the nature of Griffith's goal. It didn't feel like, it was... Obviously, you have to play opportunistic and you earn it that way, but you don't score that goal if there aren't 2 just complete whiffs, right? And I want to see UTS get a goal that they actually have to, outplay their opponents for.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you're right. And I know this team is capable of that, so I get, dynamics being a little off in the first game, maybe that's why, but we're almost halfway through the second game and we haven't seen too many, crazy plays, too many great passes, set-up plays, mechy shots out of them yet. I think there's more to come, but they may be running out of time if they don't step it up soon.
And it's interesting, too, because Griffith, I mean, yeah, they'll get 1 or 2 big mechy plays a series, I feel like. We saw the one from Ultraviolet before. Occasionally, ADOS might get some crazy angle out of the corner, but usually when they win their games, it is kind of that war of attrition. It is kind of that grindy game where they win based purely off their rotational play and their fundamentals, which we have been seeing them control this series as a result. That was a double commit whip. Open net for Exile, and that's going to be top bar and down. 2-1 lead.
I love a bar down shot because they're so tricky to save. Do you go for the initial, do you jump up as high as you can, as we've just seen Breezy do, and try and get the ball at the top? You think it's going to go straight in at the top of net? You don't expect it to bounce down? They're such hard goals to save, and definitely really nice to see those hit.
And now UTS, I don't want to hit the panic button yet, but I need to see something from them offensively. Again, this is a very important series for these teams' playoff chances. Now, UTS, if they drop this game going into next week, their last match, it's going to be up against ANU. Because ANU lost, earlier today, they're just going to be trying to play spoiler in that situation, and I do favor UTS in that game. Meanwhile, on the Griffith side, their last game of the season is against UOM, a team that hasn't actually won a series yet, so you kind of favor them in that one as well, which is why I was kind of saying coming into this, whoever wins this series very likely holds on to that third place position. But where it sits right now, it's looking pretty heavily in favor of the red side.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one, Formal. We're seeing shot after shot. I almost didn't think that one was going in off the sidewall from ADOS, but managed to kind of get a nice little half volley off the sidewall there into the very, very edge of that net. Already putting Griffith up 3-1 with 1:17 to go. UTS really need to do something to fight back now.
I mean, it's as I said before, you're good for one big mechie play, you're good for one ADOS angle. Griffith kind of cashing in both already, though, so we'll see what they look like going into Game 3. But for right now, the pass plays in effect. Backboard, here comes Exile. Good read by Greasy. Played that patiently off the back.
That would have been the nail in the coffin, I reckon, for this game had Greasy not been there for the save. But they're still in this. They've still got plenty of time left. Ultraviolet taking the ball, carrying the ball, edge dribbling it down the other end of the field. ADOS looking for Exile with the pass. Someone there for the block, though.
Here comes Greasy. Oh, it's a bit of a swing and a miss. Ball bouncing around middle of the pitch. Stimpy gets a touch. Actually goes into Springapack, who takes it back to their own backboard. Now with the demo, net might open up. 30 seconds remaining. Still 2 goals required. Unless something crazy happens here, it's going to be a 2-0 lead for the Griffith side. Last chance in this one. Stimpy doesn't get the shot.
Ultraviolet passing in front of net there was definitely a bit of a dangerous play. Stimpy was ready to try and challenge that, and I can't blame him being 2 goals down with so little time left in this game. You gotta do something desperate. You gotta get aggressive. So I'd be wary of those kind of passes going into the next game. Griffith are going to take this game away with a very clean shot from ADOS. There's the nail in the coffin. There's the confidence destroyer. There's the touch. There's the goal that secures that confidence for them going into this next game.
ADOS off the ceiling, double touch to put it through, and I like how they used the ceiling to really just set up and ensure that the angle would be good for that second strike. Enough to get the win. Griffith now up 2-0 in this series, and outside of the UTS goal from the Ultraviolet whiff in front of the net, haven't seen anything from UTS really.
Yeah, it's surprising, Formal. I feel like it genuinely is a really surprising thing because UTS, especially at the start of this season, I feel like you missed some of their best games. You missed some of their best series. You missed some of the best goals out of this UTS side. I feel like we've seen a lot out of them at the start of this the season, and they're starting to dwindle a little bit now. I would have gone into this series hitting them slightly as the favourites over Griffith, but I think I'm being proven wrong right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of riding that train as well after seeing them take down UON, but alas, not been the case so far today. However, a cheeky little reverse sweep never hurt anybody, and I don't want to count them out, not in this position, but UTS's Game 2 was so strong on so many levels, and the confidence is there. You can see Ultraviolet already pulling off resets. Exile in that third-man role. Haven't seen him mess up a midfield challenge yet. I mean, the team is just firing on all cylinders, and until we see something disrupt them, they're going to have the momentum, they're going to have the advantage, and they're going to be a challenge to take down.
Absolutely, I think you're definitely right on that one.
Well.
That's not... I was just about to say, even if UTS do pick up their game, Griffith are playing out of their minds, but we're starting to see a few cracks, a few whips out of the Griffith side, but they're picking themselves back up. They're managing to stay alive in this one. We're seeing demos come out of Ultraviolet to take out Spring Hopak as well. More physical play for both sides happening. Demos out of both sides. Yeah, both teams trying to find their feet right now.
You know what's kind of crazy too, though? Like, when Griffith makes a mistake, it's never a small mistake. It's kind of like an egregious one, I've noticed. Like, it's always just a complete whiff on the ball, which, I mean, fair enough. those are the ones you least expect, I should say, and I think that's the reason why we haven't seen, you know, an opportunistic UTS capitalize, because it's like, who's going to miss that touch? Either way, still looking at a 0-0 game.
Ooh.
Shot looks good, but it's off the post.
Oh, we're going to see a save out of AEDOS. Clinical there, and the counter attack going the way of Griffith there. I feel like there was a series of awkward play that happened there. Yeah, a whiff led to a mistake, led to a counter attack, led to UTS just pushing up way too far in offense. Like I said before, Formal, they're desperate right now. They don't want to get swept. We don't want to see our third sweep of the night. That's insane.
There is a chance, Morgie, a legitimate chance that we double our sweeps in week 6 of this event. Stimpy going for a musty doesn't work out. However, that's still gonna roll it. Okay, good. Springo is there.
There for the cleanup. That, like you said before, when Griffith make mistakes, they're big mistakes. There are no little mistakes coming out of this side right now, and these are the goals UTS are scoring. But that worries me, Formal. UTS aren't scoring any spectacular goals. They're off the back of Griffith's mistakes. And just as something like that happens, Griffith manages to turn it around and get another goal back on their side instead.
I am surprised Springleback started to rotate back. I feel like in that position you have to send it, right? Like it's just it's too much of an ask. Even had they made contact with the ball, I feel like that just turns into an own goal.
Yeah, I think you are right. My, Griffith with the lead in this third game, making it look like there is a potential for another sweep of the night, which is scary, as Formal and I were talking about before. We've only had 4 so far in the entire series. We're in week 6, guys, and there have been 4 sweeps so far total. And we've had an extra 2 on top of that tonight, and it's Griffith managed to get another one, and then we go into our 4th game of the night. Yeah. Tricky.
That was almost an amazing recovery from ADOS right there, as Ultraviolet does what they can to stop the counterattack. 2 defenders had rotated back. Just half a game remaining, and for UTS, the momentum swing of coming off of a huge Game 5 victory against UON to then drop against their positional rival in Griffith, it would be almost an opportunity lost for them to realistically control their own destiny. And with that goal, a 2-point cushion to Exile may have just put it out of reach.
It just goes to show how uncertain so much of this league is, Formal, how much each week really does matter, and how so many of these teams sitting, I don't want to say in the 1st to 5th position, I feel like there is a pretty strong number 1, but the teams sitting 2nd to 4th or 2nd to 5th are just so neck and neck each week.
I mean, you could... Whoa, hold that thought. Stimpy with a timely goal. Reset. Top bar. Just a nice 1-2 punch, and all of a sudden we're back within 1.
Back within 1, but we've seen a bit of a pattern with Griffith when they do manage to lose a goal there. They go on the attack, they seek that second goal cushion, as we said. We're going to see Exile go for a shot now. Gets a lovely touch to Ultraviolet. Well, I'm not going to say I told you so, but...
Oh, Ultraviolet has been playing next level this series, and it's just been getting stronger and stronger. I mean, driving that shot, you said it before, top crossbar, nearly impossible to defend. Technically, I guess an own goal, but I'm giving all the credit to Ultraviolet for forcing it there.
Oh, absolutely. Ultraviolet did 99% of the work. 99% of the work on that. It was just Greasy who unfortunately just touched it in, but only because Ultraviolet kind of forced that touch anyway. I definitely have to agree with you though. I love seeing Ultraviolet play at their best. They're definitely a really, really strong player in this league. Definitely a top player. I love this Griffith roster when they are playing at their best, and I feel like we are seeing that.
Whoa, shot coming from Exile, not quite going to hit its mark. Now Stimpy's going to come, not off the roof. It says Ultraviolet backboard. No. Defense makes a save on the corner. Exile popping it up, wants to find ADOS, but keeps it themselves instead, and nearly gets it past Stimpy. 2-goal lead, under a minute to go, and Griffith still just feels like they're in such control of this series.
Oh, I am scared for UTS right now, although we do see an opportunity here. unfortunately does not result in a goal. Spring Hopak maybe a little bit too quick with the touch there. Could have maybe taken a little bit more time. But yeah, Griffith with a 2-goal lead is looking terrifying for UTS right now. It's do or die. They need to do something right now or they're going to lose that third spot position.
We'll see if they can find it. Stimpy backboard isn't able to follow it too much. Still under half a minute to go. Big bump since Ultraviolet flying. This attack has to bear fruit for UTS, but they're not going to find it. Exile instead almost gets it to ADOS. Cut off by Stimpy. The shot needs to be now, but there's no one there committing. Spring Hopak wants that perfect situation. Instead, it's a double commit, and that will do it. It's going to be Griffith taking this series and going to 4-2 on the season.
Well, Griffith taking this one in a sweep. It's definitely been very well deserved. They rocked up as the better team on the night, very obviously. UTS just lacking their usual spark. It's, yeah, like we said, it is surprising. It is, but these teams, it's hard to call when they're all so close. But for that to be a sweep formal, that's the surprising part for me.
Yeah, and I think that is massive for Griffith. Again, they have UOM next week, which on paper they should come out on top on. So I dare say very likely we're going to be seeing Griffith as our number 3 seed if things play out the way we kind of expect it to. Because again, if it comes to a head-to-head tiebreaker, they do have the advantage over, or sorry, it is UON that has the advantage over them. So it would kind of fall for them. I mean, we could take a quick look at the standings to kind of highlight what I mean after that one right there. You can see, yep, with that win, Griffith now sits 4-2, but they lose the tiebreaker to UON, which does mean that, you know, even if UON drops and Griffith wins their game, they will still be sitting in 3rd place. But the big thing is QUT and UTS vying for that last spot. And I'm going to double check. I believe in the head-to-head, it goes in favor of QUT because of week 1. So that loss from UTS, Morgie, it might cost them the playoffs.
That is a terrifying thought, Formal, because if you asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said UTS were absolutely making playoffs. I would have thought you were crazy if you were telling me there was no chance of them making playoffs. But UT, Griffith really have stepped up in the last few weeks. Obviously, Griffith, as we could see just now, taking the win over UTS was huge and so detrimental to UTS's standings.
But here's the thing. There still is one more team that can also sneak in as well. UCID is in it with a long shot, but they need to win, and then they're going to need help. They're going to continue to try and fight and stay alive in this tournament. They're going to be up next playing against UOM in our last game of the night, so stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. One game still to come, but before we get to that, some exciting news. Our admin team behind the scenes punched the numbers, entered the calculations. So joining us in congratulations for qualifying, ADOS from Griffith. You did it. You've made it. You're back into the playoffs.
Let's go. Another season, another playoff. Looking forward to it.
How do you think you're going to go this one?
Oh, I think we'll make the finals, but UNSW, the reigning champs, hopefully we can try and ruin their reign and take the win.
So I know that's what you want to do, and at best, you can get second place still in the standings. There's still a chance you can also finish third, I believe, or more likely you're finishing third. But here's the thing: if New South Wales, everyone assumes they're going to be the number 1 seed, but if they lose next week, they could wind up in the number 2 seed then, which means you and the 3 seed would have to play them. So are you going to be, sending them messages telling them, hey, maybe try and take down that UON side?
Well, we'll see how it plays out. I think they'll end up coming first seed, but if they do come up third seed, and we play them in the playoffs, then we'll have to beat them, and then easy final. So a bit cocky, but we'll see how it plays out, I guess.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how next week plays out. It'll be UON versus UNSW, if I'm correct on that. Kind of, battling it for that seeding. Obviously, both teams also in. But speaking of teams kind of fighting for their positioning at the moment, UTS, how did you guys feel going into this series? Because we thought it was going to be a challenge. We thought it was going to be really tight. It was kind of hard to call which way it would go, but we didn't expect a sweep, just because they have been performing so well during the season. Did you guys think you were going to sweep them?
Oh, I kind of had the idea that we would. We came across them in ranked and they didn't seem too strong, but then playing AEL, they seemed pretty strong. So, we didn't really know what to expect going into this game. So we've done a lot of game reviews over the last couple of weeks, and we've tried, fix the little gimmicks in our games, and I think that showed today. We all played very well mechanically. There was only a few mistakes, few miscommunications, and I think if we keep going this way, we'll give UNSW a run for their money. So looking forward to the playoffs, especially. Yeah.
So a big thing I noticed this game, which is always a good sign moving forwards, Ultraviolet's mech seems to have leveled up in this series. Like they seem to be playing out of their mind. Has that been a result of all this practice and VOD reviews you've been talking about building into the confidence, or has something else? Like what did he have for breakfast? Where did this come from today?
Look, that's a question that I'll need to ask you, V. What do you have for breakfast? We just need to sync up our diets, and I don't know. I think just our game reviews have brought a lot of confidence for all of us, and I think we all played very mechanically decently today. So hopefully that goes into next week, and we can continue being a strong side that I know that we have the potential to be.
Yeah, definitely. Game reviews are so critical to, and you've got to be aware of, where you are making those mistakes. You've got to be, I guess, humble enough to recognize when you are making mistakes and correct those mistakes as well. So it sounds like you guys have got that on lockdown. Have we got more game reviews coming up this week in the lead up, despite you guys have locked in your spot? But are we going to continue the pressure with that kind of training and those reviews?
Oh, definitely. Just from, today's performance, how we swept them. I think that's definitely a result from our more practice and more of our VOD reviews. So I definitely think we should keep that going, even though we did sweep them, that we did still make mistakes and stuff that we'll only find going back through them. So we'll definitely go back through those games, and you find, again, the little gimmicks that we're lacking on, and we'll go into next week even stronger and just try and smooth those out a bit and tighten our rotations and improve our gameplay.
All right, this is going to be a little bit of a different question I have to ask, but is there a bit of a Queensland buff happening for games right now? Because school holidays means more of those high school kids online in our region, in our state, more games able to find. Has your solo queue been taken over by like the crazy mechy high school kids, or is it still just scrims and focus and play against proper teams only?
Oh, I don't like solo queuing. I try and avoid it as much as possible. I don't know. I think the queue times have been a little bit faster. I haven't really noticed it. I've been working a lot, so I usually are only on like late at night when most of them are still asleep.
Yeah, but it's not school nights anymore. They're up all night now.
Yeah. Some of them are. Some of them are, you know, maybe grinding other games or whatnot. But yeah,
True.
I haven't noticed it too much.
I guess, you know, kind of comparing off that then. When the season ends, is it more Rocket League preparing for next year, preparing for next season, or are there other projects in the future for ADOS or other games?
I have been looking at a few other games. I think Rocket League's starting to get a little bit stale with like just not having updates, and you know, it's just the same game from 2015 basically. But I think I'll definitely stay with AEL until I finish my degree. So I got all of next year, finished October next year. So I definitely have one more year at AEL, and then I think I'll give Rocket League a miss from then.
One more season, one last run. Who else is actually going to be coming back on this Griffith team? Are we going to be seeing the same lineup again next season?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same lineup. I think Cheeky, he took a break, so we'll have him back as a sub for next season. So we'll have a sub at least. So it should be the same roster though, just plus Cheeky.
Excellent. That's going to be some pretty great stuff. Look, thank you for sticking with us right now. Again, this interview is going a little bit longer, maybe than initially planned. We just enjoy your company that much. I mean,
the admin was trash talking my jersey, Griffin.
Yeah, you know what? I can, because he has poor taste in a lot of things, so it's okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
don't get us started on Turkish delights. But
the ADOS on the back.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It actually is one of the few teams that has a jersey. We need more teams with jerseys.
Definitely. I always had to put it on for the interview, so I forgot last week.
So you don't actually play with it on?
Sometimes I do. But I play soccer as well on the Wednesday, so I just get home from soccer, log in, and then start playing. So yeah, I don't have time to change.
I mean, aren't most esports jerseys just soccer jerseys anyways? Like, isn't it all?
I guess so. I mean, I'm not going to show up to my soccer game in this, but I guess it makes sense because I play at the Griffith campus as well, so yeah.
Okay, wait.
Maybe I'll give that a go.
So there's no Goblin on the Griffith football team?
No goblins. Just a social sport, so it's
Okay.
just wear whatever, and you know, if need a team can wear a bib and just play each other. So yeah.
Fair enough. Either way, thank you for helping us kill a bit of time here, Ada. It's always good to have a chat, but I think now we're good to send you off. You can enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, congratulations on making the semifinals.
Thank you. Awesome. We'll see you in the playoffs.
Well, we'll see you next week as well.
Oh, yeah.
Still have to play that game, all right? Excellent. So that was ADOS joining us there. Morgie, one more game. Now, I may have said that this game might not be that important, and I may have written it off, but that's not fair. UCID still are in it with a chance to get into the playoffs. They have to win out, and they're going to need a couple miracles next week, including a UOM victory to kind of help them out as well. But, hey, crazier things have happened in other games, right?
Definitely. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily rule UOM out for this game either. I think I do lean towards UCID just based on their recent performance. They have been playing really, really well, but even though there isn't a playoffs position on the line for UOM, I feel like you don't want to go through the entire season without getting a win. So this is still do or die for them. They still want to take out this series. They still want to prove their worth in this league. So there's still something on the line for them here.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. And for UOM as well, I mean, it's kind of crazy because, yeah, they've been swept twice, but that was against, you know, the two top teams. But whenever they've played against anyone else, they've taken a game or two off of them. Like, they've always stayed competitive. And there's no reason not to think that won't happen again here. I feel like the team has kind of just been a little bit unlucky and just unable to finish that series, which can happen for new teams in this. I mean, we've seen it from UTS as well. The new team's still not showing maybe that same experience that some of the more veteran squads have here in the Elite Series, but they can only get stronger. And if there's a team that screams inconsistency consistently, it's been UCID.
No, I tend to agree with you there. We've definitely seen a lot of bumps out of UCID, and we've seen them. I mean, like I said, they so far are only one of two teams who have challenged UNSW and taken a game off UNSW. So despite the bumps on some nights, they perform pretty well on other nights. But again, there is that pressure for them tonight that there are a lot of factors involved in them still getting a playoff spot. Obviously, they need to rely on other teams losing as well. It's not just them necessarily winning this week and next, but that adds a bit of pressure to this match. They'll go into this confident that they will beat UOM, and I think they've got to be careful with that confidence.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it kind of for me depends on the form that we see from Sai and Kabilio in particular. These two, they kind of make or break the UCID lineup, and we always get good for a couple great plays out of them. But can they do it every game? Can they continue the streak? I still kind of want to see, 4 3-0s today, just because then guess what? We've doubled our sweep numbers. But I also wouldn't mind, a series actually go the distance as well. It's weird when you don't go to Champions Field at least once. So I don't know. I'm happy either way, as long as it's not 4 games. If it's 4 games, then I'm unhappy.
Yep. No, I get you. Yeah, it'd definitely be interesting if we had all sweeps tonight. Would definitely be one for the history books, given how the rest of this season has played out. Doubling it in one night so late in the season would be insane. But in order to do that, UCID, UOM, they're both sitting down the bottom end of that ladder. Someone's got to come out dominant, and they've got to do it at the start of this series, Aaron.
So a reoccurring theme of the night has been the winning team starting off strong. That could be the case here again as well. 3 shots, third one hits the mark, 12 seconds in, and Biker Glass makes it 1-0.
Yeah, he said it kind of depends on how well Kabilio and Cecilio are playing. I think that pass off Kabilio was really clean, and if that's what we're going to expect out of him tonight, I think we're in for a pretty decent night from UCID corner. Yeah,
I think we could be seeing a big one as well. That was just a fantastic start from our blue side. So UCID kind of showing us what to expect. Jeremy, though, despite being bumped, still gets a nice clear back up at the other side, and we'll see again how this UOM side responds. Now, look, I'm gonna kind of break off a little bit here. You're in Melbourne now.
Yes.
How much do you interact with University of Melbourne at all? Do you know much about that campus, about that school?
I almost went to University of Melbourne, but I wanted to do a double degree, and that wasn't offered at the time that I was applying for university, so I changed my preference and I went elsewhere. But I gotta say, University of Melbourne has got a beautiful campus. I feel like you're walking around Hogwarts when you're there. And that was a major factor in me wanting to go there, not gonna lie. It is beautiful. It makes you want to go to uni. So I think that has some very studious students at campus and some very good esports players as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a bit of that good esports players right there at Galaxy with that dribble straight down through defense, able to tie it up. The reason why I asked those because I have seen this university called every acronym under the sun, be it like UOM, MUE, UME, and I'm just kind of curious which one is the one the players would consider themselves, and maybe they all call themselves all these different names. Either way, they're calling themselves tied again after Galaxy was able to get a nice goal before. Now pressure could come from the blue side, although first challenge goes awry, second challenge open net, but the shot is a miss, and Jeremy, I thought was AFK, just instead playing a patient game and getting underneath the ball.
I mean, back in my uni days, definitely had a lot more to do with them, even if it just came to, like social sport and that kind of thing. Like I was really into that kind of aspect of uni. So, and I had a lot of friends that went to University of Melbourne as well. I don't know about the acronyms. We referred to it as Uni Melb. Not necessarily an acronym, but just a shortened name.
Added to the pile. Added to the list.
Added to the pile. Added to the list of what they're called. But nonetheless, great uni. Great, obviously very good education options there. And it looks like they're building these teams up as well. So always good to see with the unis. I'm proud to see that. I wish I had that when I was at uni. I was at uni a few years ago now.
Yep.
Maybe there were esports teams and I just wasn't aware of it. I absolutely would have signed up for the Rocket League team had I known, but I don't.
What university did you graduate from again?
I'm a Monash graduate.
Oh yeah, Monash definitely had teams.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, in League of Legends.
Oh no, no. Okay, I'm unenrolling from the uni at that point.
I don't know if they had the Rocket League teams, but still. Let me see. Pressure off the backboard. Do we see the shot come through right now? No, not quite there. Still 2 minutes remaining. Actually, one of the cool things about Monash, which we don't really see in the Rocket League thing, is they also tend to always have women's teams. So whenever there's a women's league put together, Monash sometimes will have multiple teams, actually,
I love that.
in the women's division. So, there you go.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I really like that. I mean, where's Monash in this? Have we had Monash?
I think they're in the Opens division. I will take... I will do that research as we hit the final minute and a half of the game. By the way, this game is still tied, by the way. These two teams going back and forth.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that we're still at 1-1. I feel like very early. Never mind. Maybe I do have a bit of the caster's curse tonight. I feel like every time I make a call on something, every time I speak and say, "Wow, still a tied game," someone instantly proves me wrong. You Sid taking the lead in this game with 1 minute 20 and 26 left. Still plenty of time. UniMelb can still come back. Still an opportunity here.
I just want to, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but I just want to point out, even in our secret, Google Doc sheet, UOM goes by MUE on a different page.
Do they? I didn't notice that. I would have been mega confused.
It's just something that happens. Here we go, though. Minute remaining. Let's see if UOM, MUE, MUE, EUM, Melbourne, win. Can they get something together? Can they get that go-ahead goal?
Look, honestly, let's just roll with this as it's the battle of the two cities right now. It's the battle of Melbourne versus Sydney. Obviously, if it came down to that, then I'm 100% on Melbourne's side. I've lived in both cities. Look, I'm just going to say I'm not biased at all. I prefer Melbourne as a city, and I believe in this team tonight to get the comeback. We don't want 3 sweeps. We want to see this game go to Game 5. We want some excitement, and I think UniMelb can put it to use it tonight.
I don't know, Melbourne versus Sydney, battle between the cities just sounds like Melbourne trying to insert itself into a state of origin type matchup. That's how I see this one, Queensland forever. But with 10 seconds to go, it is going to be New South Wales, something that I think both Melbourne and Brisbane can agree with. The team that you don't always necessarily want to see win, but they're going to do so, and honestly, they're going to look good doing it for this first game. A 2-1 victory for the team in blue as the ball doesn't hit the ground. Kasai wants to make it 3-1 instead. Virgo makes the save, and this could come back to bite them, actually. There's boost. There's a chance. Cabilio doesn't down it, puts it towards the back. Jeremy can't recover, and USID finally takes the first game.
USID do take the first game, and in quite a dominant fashion as well. I promise this is the last time I will go off topic. I will try and keep to just game talk, but I am going to say formal. If we're talking State of Origin, always been a Maroon supporter because they take Storm players. Because when it comes to State of Origin, our players play for Queensland instead of New South Wales. So I've always been a Maroon supporter. I'll give you that.
That's the whole point of State of Origin was you don't take players from other states. That is no longer state of origin. Then it's state of convenience, not state of origin.
Fair enough.
But no, it is an interesting one. Interesting how this is playing off as, I mean, Monash, has a history, actually. You kind of got, there's been several Monash teams that have played in AEL, for the record.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Where are Monash teams that represent?
Yeah, I'm going to take a quick look at some of these lineups of the past. In fact, players like Civics and Evan 07 and Kruzza. How can I forget? I think they even won a year.
Kruzza! Oh, that's so funny. Kruzza's a friend. I totally forgot about that. Actually, I'm just thinking of it. But there you go.
They would always have lower bracket runs and then disappear in the finals.
Yep. There you go. Lower bracket. I love seeing a lower bracket run, though. I love seeing a team fight for their life.
Yeah, I'm looking at their results, and it's just several second places in the finals. Oh, unlucky.
Oh my. Unlucky indeed. Speaking of unlucky, UOM this season have had very much an unlucky run. They haven't managed to score a series win yet. They haven't managed to get a series win on the board, shall I say. And they're hoping to do so tonight. As we've said, as Wendell and I have talked about, they are out of playoffs. They're no longer able to secure a playoffs position, no matter if they win both this week and next week. If all the teams that are supposed to lose, it doesn't matter. But they do not want to go out of this season without getting some series wins on the board. So they've got a lot at stake here. They want to take it off USID. USID are already game up, so UniMelb really needs to step it up now.
Yeah, that they do. That they do. Will they get a chance? I mean, so far this game, it's been all the side of UniMel, just constant attacking, and finally Galaxy, the player who got the goal in the first game, will get the first one in the second.
Let's go, Galaxy with a dunk on Kabilio. Really, really clean there. BkWhatOCE unable to get the save as well. Maybe not entirely expecting the dunk to go the way that it did, but we're seeing a goal now for UniMel. They're up in this game. It may not be a sweep after all.
Might not be. We could have our first actual series on our hands. Would be nice. It would be fun. Assuming they go to game 5. Ball down, bouncing around, not going to really be collected by anyone just yet. Jeremy swings and misses. As we come across the middle of the field, here comes Kabilio, popping it up, but at a weird angle, so no easy follow-up. Sai still's going to try to slow things down, looking for a bump, but it's the second defender, Jeremy, who clears it back out to safety.
I think Kabilio getting 50 again in their half though, so at least wasn't in too much of a dangerous position. The ball not going in a, I guess, very much of an opportunistic position for UOM to score, so very lucky for UCID in that position. But we're seeing some mistakes come out of UCID now. We're seeing some passes to the opposition, and UOM able to capitalize on it with Galaxy in the right place at the right time.
I mean, it was kind of like a weird pinball pass coming from Jeremy out of the corner there using Kabilio, but you take what you're able to take in situations like that, and now with a 2-0 lead, UOM looking very much in control of this second game. Pressure's going to be on this UCID side, see what they can bring back. Demo in the corner, looking for Sai, who will try to drop it down. Accidentally popped it up instead. Kabilio now is going to have to try to doomsy it. Doesn't really stay behind the play. A little bit awkward and not quite what they wanted. It will be the defense holding on for now.
Holding on indeed. Definitely, UCID are lacking the spark that they had in the first game. They're lacking that kind of offensive pressure. UOM have definitely stepped up their offensive pressure, so it's a bit of a one-on-one on that, I think. Formal Virgo with a massive shot. Oh, goes a little bit wide. Kabilio can't get the save either, and UOM are 3 up in the second game.
I think UOM are going to be taking this one. They look so much better to the second game than the first one. They're more willing to attack. They're sending, players in super deep for the bump game, which unfortunately for UCID, they haven't really been able to look comfortable on that defensive side at all here in game number 2. It's just been so many red cars swarming and surrounding. We'll see where they can go in this position, but again, Galaxy initially hunts for the bump, but then pulls away and gets in his teammate's way. Alright, so it's not perfect from the UOM side, but it's still been pretty good.
It's not perfect, but it's definitely better than UCID have been playing in this game. That's for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if this series kind of ping-pongs a little bit for more. I mean, we're already seeing some comeback from UCID in this game, but I feel like after a game loss, if UCID do lose this game, after a game loss, they will come back fighting for that game 3 as well. So this could go either way.
I mean, BkWhatOCE definitely helping that situation, gets a nice goal. From the cross, I mean, it was a powerful one despite 3 defenders there now. A minute and a half remaining. Kabilio with a chance goes high instead of keeping it low, and I feel like had that been a shot, it could have been a 1-goal game. Oh my goodness, Kabilio and Sai almost connect for the goal of the night.
Yeah, almost got quite the little kind of like the pinch, or almost a bit of a carry out of both cars into the net there. BkWhatOCE going for the clear. Galaxy there to block him though. It still goes the way of UCID. Kabilio gets demo. Jeremy, very, very tactical play there to make sure UCID can capitalize on that counter-attack.
Here we go, through the corner. BkWhatOCE wants to go down to Sai. Make a little bit of contact. Here comes Kabilio. Net's open! Oh, that kind of gets rid of any hope for this game. That has to be scored.
Yeah, for sure. That is definitely an opportunity that's, very, very missed opportunity there for UCID. There's still 30 seconds left in this, but I feel like you're right that this is just going to go UOM's way, and UCID are going to have to bring something back in game 3.
We'll see what they can do. As Jeremy will play it off the backboard. BkWhatOCE wants to go up, wants to challenge, but can only go so far with it. Still 10 seconds on the clock. Galaxy, deep clear, Kabilio, backboard, Second touch keeps it high. Still 5 seconds. Who's going to be the next one there? Sai Cabilio, speed swing and miss. Backer glass. Lets it fall. UOM. They take game 2.
What a comeback. Formal, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but we're not getting 4 sweeps tonight. We are not doubling our season score of sweeps in one night. We're going to have to settle for 3. We're going to have to settle for an exciting 4th series of the night as both of these teams fight for their lives.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, again, I still want to see Champions Field then. All right, if you're gonna make us stay up late, all right, if we're gonna party all night long, at least let us go to Champions Field. Game 3, though, very important. Getting that extra game cushion. That's what this next match is going to be all about. And with momentum possibly swinging like a pendulum, we'll see how UCID bring it back. However, Galaxy right now looking like the player of the day thus far. I expect them to continue to perform.
Definitely, I feel like both teams are going to go hard in this third game. Like you said, the team, whoever is down by 2 games, whoever goes into that 4th game being down by 2, they're in a scary position. And you know, it's harder to be that team that takes it to game 5 to Champions Field, but that's what we want to see. We need both teams to get, you know, a win in the next 2 games and hopefully get us to Champions Field.
Well, it's looking pretty good for UOM right now, looking for their first series victory, and it's going to come courtesy again of the 3-pronged attack. First through the corner, then off the backboard. Burger with their first goal of the game. They go ahead and make this 1-0.
1-0 indeed. UCID looking a lot more shaky now. They did not want to give UOM the lead this early in the game. Again, I'm speaking too early. I need to wait a couple of seconds perhaps. UCID equalising the score with still plenty of time in this game.
Still a lot of time to go. Tie ball game. And again, this is what we were hoping for. This back and forth affair. I think it's, you know, emblematic right now of our 2 lowest teams on the table. As we are going to see Sai just throw one down. Now Biker Glass with time to aim a shot. Will force a good save from Galaxy, who saves their boost. And now might need to use it to help get a clear.
That was an incredible amount of power out of Biker Glass on that shot. I feel like I'm usually focused on Filio and Sai in these games, almost like the dynamic duo that we've seen with Matt and Jacko, for example. But Biker Glass is not one to be ignored either. We've seen some great shots out of him this season. We've seen some really power shots as well. Manages to rotate his car really well to get that perfect angle on the corner, to get as most power out of his shots as he possibly can. So definitely not a player to ignore either.
Definitely won't be. Here we go. Biker Glass loses out on the 50. Sai as well, swinging and a miss. Also just going to slowly roll back towards that backboard. Cabilio able to get there in time. Can't do too much with it after that. Now Cabilio back pass, looking to avoid the teammates, so they're not doing a pinch. What is the game plan here for Cabilio? Because they have no boost. What was that?
That was, I think, confused, or not sure where I go with this, and just as I'm hyping him up, just as I'm saying that this is the player to look out for, Biker Glass, not with the power shot this time, but with the beautiful angle to sail that ball in, almost off the, I think that went off slightly, almost kind of touched the post there and kind of rolled in off the post. That is as perfect of an angle as you can get.
I mean, I get it. It was good job taking advantage of a weird clear from Germany, trying to use their own backboard, but wasn't able to get the second touch. And it's going to be enough, though, for UCID to take that 2-1 lead, where expectations would be, at least for this blue side, they can hold on to it now. Cabilio would like to even add to it, perhaps. Out through the corner, doesn't get the Doomsy.
Part of me kind of wants UCID to get this series win just because I want to see some chaos going into playoffs football. I want to see, you know, what happens to that mid-pack of teams next week. If the right teams lose and UCID can still have a shot at playoffs, I feel like that would be really interesting. But yeah, if they do lose to UniMelt tonight, they will be out for sure. So as much as I don't know, I'm so torn. I want UniMelt to get a win on the board. I want UCID to maybe still have a shot in playoffs, depending on a lot of factors. It's really tricky, but it's an exciting series, this one.
It is. I mean, no favoritism coming from me in this one. I just want to see a good series of Rocket League, and in a sense, it has delivered. Cabilio not able to get that one inside now. Going to try to go for one last touch. That looks very good. 3-1 lead as UCID tightens their grasp here on Game 3.
That's the kind of ball control we're needing out of Sai in this game. The fake out on the first defender manages to scoop around it and get the shot around the second defender in net as well. A 2v1 situation is not an easy one to win, but when you've got ball control like that, it's almost a guaranteed goal.
Yeah, as we do see Sai going to cross that one up. Ooh, swing and a miss from one, but not for the second. Jeremy now just puts a shot on! Accuracy! Perfect! 3-2 game.
Oh, UCID, again, just with the little inconsistencies here, the whiffs, the not challenging the ball early enough, Unimel, or particularly Jeremy, we've seen some great shots out of Virgo and Galaxy as well, where they have capitalized on those tiny little mistakes and just seen a goal before UCID can recognize that they've got the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, let's see if they can force it again. It would be fantastic for them, but instead it's an open net the other way. Cabelio regains the cushion, 4-2.
The 2-goal lead is definitely the position they want to be in when there's only 1 goal difference. It's still either team's game, so this is looking good for UCID. Being 2 goals up with less than a minute 30 to go is a great position for them. They just need to park the bus and hold on to this game.
And we'll see how much of a parking of said bus they can piece together. Cabelio not able to get that second touch, side swings and misses from underneath. Here comes a dribble play straight down the center. Last time Galaxy turned it into a point. This time it's just a little bit wide to the right. Good attempt, but with good attempt time running short, only a minute remaining or thereabouts. It's going to be a little bit desperate for the UOM. Keep throwing themselves at the ball, Morgie. They keep trying to pressure this defense, but credit where it's due. UCID's defense holds stand. Strong. Hold stand.
Yeah.
What's hold stand? I don't even know what I was going for with that.
I mean, honestly, you've had that being your one slight slip up of the night, me mumbling every second sentence I try and make. I'm just having a bit of an off night with words, apparently. But nonetheless, we are still having fun in this series. I hope you guys are having fun as well. This is our tightest series of the night.
Mm-hmm.
We went into tonight thinking that we would have a few tight series, but somehow ended up with 3 sweeps to begin with, and now we've got a series on our hands. Hopefully this goes to Champions Field. We want to see a fight. We want to see some action. Unimel need to win the next game, though, for us to be able to do that.
Cabelio, unable to kind of put that one away. Still 5 seconds remaining. Ball slowly rolls in. We're going to have a chance for a kickoff goal, Morgie.
I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised. We've seen a few of them in this series. Oh, sorry, in this season, formal. I mean, I feel like it's just an OC thing in general. It's not a uni-league thing. It's just something we like to do in OC. We like to throw away leads with kickoff goals. There is an opportunity for UOM here, but the ball does not go their way. We're actually going to see a shot attempt from UCID, but it hits the backboard, bounces down. We're out of time in this third game. We're going to game 4, and UCID are up by 2.
So the big thing is, even though that was a 1-goal game, look at the shot difference between these two. I mean, we're looking at, 11 shots to 6, 5-shot advantage to UCID. That's pretty big. And that's been the big difference, I feel like, in this series. UOM, yes, they have their moments, and they're pretty good on the breakaway. I'm surprised Galaxy actually didn't get any goals this time around because they've been on point. But UCID has been the more controlling team. They've been the more consistent team in that middle of the field. They can have a more sustained attack. And I feel, for UOM, if they're going to win this one out, I need to see them hold possession for longer than like 20 or 30 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Galaxy, I would have expected a little bit more shot-wise out of him. You are correct in saying that, but 75% of Unimel's saves in that game as well. I feel like Galaxy was pushed to the back line as that third man. Maybe rotation was a little bit off because UCID was playing a lot more aggressively than they were in the previous game. So Unimel need to be really careful with their rotations. Galaxy needs to be careful not to get pushed back into that third man position because he's such a dominant first man as well.
I mean, it's what happens when you're the best player on the team. No offense to like Jeremy and Virgo. They've had their moments, but Galaxy has been that consistent side. And you can't play everywhere at once. Just ask Tadagane what happened last week. Here we go, though. Game number 4. Must win for Uni Melbourne. If they want to take a series, this is going to be their best chance at it. And so far, I mean, they're immediately on the back foot.
Yeah, they've been put into an awkward position to start with to begin with at the start of this game, but they're managing to hold tight on defense, managing to keep UCID from scoring. I feel like it's only a matter of time though if UCID keep putting on the pressure, but Galaxy with a massive flick to get it over the midfield. Ball still caught a little bit loose though, neither team really holding on to possession of the post right now.
Yeah, it has been very, very roughly back and forth. Here we go, 4 minutes remaining. Ball's going to drop down. We see Biker Glass swing and miss. Here comes Galaxy now off that backboard. Isn't able to follow it up. Ball gets popped up. Biker Glass wants to make a read. Down underneath. Finds Kabilio. Now looking for Sai, who puts a shot on. That would have been a great one. Unfortunately, it goes a little high.
Absolutely, that would have been a very, very clinical shot right into the top corner, perfectly targeting the goal, but just went a little bit too wide. Derby and Kabilio caught in a bit of a fight now. Biker Glass going for the shot, goes for the double, can't quite get it though. Sai with a touch as well, but I think we're having a little bit of lag on Galaxy's side. Obviously, it's do or die, so we're going to throw in a quick pause, quick tech break right now, and just trying to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, it is Galaxy in the situation. A little bit unfortunate. You can see kind of where the ball was coming right there at the end, but that's okay. Hopefully this will be resorted shortly. We can get ourselves back in the game and continue along with it. I actually have had chat off all day, so I haven't actually... Have players been bantering well? Have we been having our good, fun-natured banter tonight?
I have had chat off as well, funny enough. I think I haven't mentioned this before, but I've got my second monitor is already split enough with all the information I need. I don't have a space open for Twitch at the moment, but I'm sure, I hope you guys in chat are all having fun. I hope you're enjoying the games. I hope you're bantering. Yep. Keep it friendly. We like friendly banter.
Yeah.
But always good to see.
Most people like friendly
Yeah.
banter. I like drama every now and then. Okay, I like to feast every now and then. I'll admit it. Everyone always goes, "Oh, I don't like drama." I'm like, I love drama as long as it doesn't involve me. Okay, I'll play the selfish card on that.
No, fair enough. Oh, it's always a little bit entertaining to see. I don't blame you on that one.
See, for me though, like, it has to be dumb drama. It can't be something serious. If it's something serious, it's not as fun. But if it's like people fighting, like, over, like, if someone is that passionate that they're willing to throw away friendships over car selection, like if a Fennec versus Dominus argument ended a friendship, I would find that hilarious. Does that make me a bad person? Probably.
No, because that'd be so ridiculous, and I feel like I can't think of an example to mirror that, but I know there are things that I have seen that would actually equal that level of ridiculousness. I've
never seen that one, right? But I think I have seen the equivalency before. I don't want to name names on this one. All I'm going to say is car color was very important for a couple people.
Ridiculous, but so long as it's not, I mean, at the end of the day, that's still going to result in hurt feelings. But so long as it's not nothing too serious, or we're not targeting anybody, we're not going after players.
No. Look, there's a reason why I'm not naming names, right? Because I don't want the drama to involve me. Here we go, 3:15 on the clock. Burgo's going to find a strike, but not going to hit the target.
Exciting to be back. I'm hoping that the ping is all good for all players involved on the pitch and giving them all the best opportunity to come out of this victorious tonight. Obviously, ping makes such a huge difference in this game. It is painful when you've got any spike, any lags, any spike, any lag, any packet loss as well. Can be so hard to deal with. So don't blame needing a pause there.
Yeah, and I'm glad it was resolved relatively quickly as well. Hopefully, for this UOM side, they can kind of build off of it, but where it stands right now, ball's going to come out through the corner, coming down. First touch is weak, second touch, a little bit better off the roof, double commit, but no one underneath to punish. Even then, it was a nice touch in the corner. Had there been an attacker, would have been a very tough angle. Still, though, similar to what we saw before, very controlling from the UCID side, but then explosive breakaways coming from UOM. Jeremy's shot not on target.
Yeah, it is 0-0, but it is feeling like UCID's game so far. They've had 5 shots to UOM's 1, which really is a testament to the pressure they are putting on UOM right now. They're pushing them to the back foot. They're taking their boost. They're not allowing them any opportunity to kind of even just breathe for a second, it seems like. So it'll only be a matter of time before one of these shots goes in. We're looking at an opportunity there off Glass, but the top just not strong enough, and Jeremy are there to save it.
Yeah, just not quite there. Ooh, good dive back for Jeremy. So they're able to make that save. Second shot comes close, but not quite where it needed to be. Minute and a half remaining. Still looking for their first goal, Morgie. And this is a great 1-2 pass, but the shot too weak off to the side. Also was kind of a double commit as well. Kibilio was nearly there, and I think maybe should have left it for them as they had the momentum. But it's all good, at least for now, for USID, because they're still in control. A second attempt. Sai can't put it straight.
We are seeing, I mean, I feel like the pass was just a little bit aggressive from Kibilio there. I feel like it wasn't quite soft enough for Sai to get the touch given the position he was in. We've seen a couple of opportunities from USID, I have to say, where we've had that first man passed off the backboard and there hasn't been a second man or even a third ready to commit to the pass and go on the attack there. We have seen them sitting back a little bit. Maybe they're worried about losing their lead in the series. We're going to see a shot off Sai. It's going to come off, who was it there? It's going to come off one of the defenders. I think it might have been, it wasn't Burgo, sorry, it was Galaxy, actually. Just jumped a little bit too high, a little bit too early, thought that the shot was going to go top corner, went low, and he could not recover.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy to think about, because now we're sitting in a situation with 42 seconds remaining, and all of a sudden, UOM, they need a goal in this last minute. It's a good touch. I want to see pressure in the corner. Jeremy stays on it. There are attackers middle of the field. Here it comes! Ooh. It's down and it is in! Galaxy keeps UOM alive!
UOM still have a chance here. They've equalized with 30 seconds left. They want to go to Game 5. They're not wanting USID to run away in 4 games with this series. They want one on the board. I had a look at who they're coming up against next week because I may have forgotten, but they are up against Griffith next week, which will be a hard feat, potentially a harder feat than, on paper than what this week would have been. So they want to take this win here and now.
Yep. Exactly. It does kind of feel like it could be their last chance. 15 seconds. Kibilio to put it away. Can't quite sneak it through. Still in it, UOM. Going to try to charge back the opposite direction, but they can only go so far. Galaxy on the wrong side of the ball. Should be looking for the bump. Can't find Kibilio, who comes back across. 3 seconds. Last chance in regulation. The double touch. It's in 0 seconds. And that is how this series ends. It's USID with the win.
That is the craziest goal I've seen tonight, Formal. That is the craziest goal I've seen all season, to be on 0 seconds to get the double at that angle. Kibilio, massive, massive props for that. We bow down off the back of that goal. That was huge for USID. That they still had a buffer. They still had Game 5 to win, but Kibilio said, "Nah, I'm ending it right here, right now, 0 seconds." That was incredible.
That goal was fantastic, and we talked about it at the start of the series, did we not, Morgan? Kibilio has those special plays in them. Have to admit, it's kind of was more the size show for a lot of this, but they come through in the clutch. 0 seconds, fantastic goal, and unfortunately for UOM, and then another series not quite going their way, but for USID, hey, they're still mathematically in it.
They are still mathematically in it, indeed, and if they're playing like that, like the way USID was playing at the end of that game, if they're playing like that, then they potentially deserve a spot in playoffs if all things go in their favor. But UOM, I'm devastated for them. Like I said, a slight bit of bias there, slight bit of city bias there. I love Melbourne. I want this side to get a win, and I'm so gutted to see them go another week without a win. It's devastating to see.
It hurts. It does hurt on a deeper level, but it is unfortunately what it will be for Melbourne. They'll have one more chance to win a series in the Elite Series next week, of course. Even then, I mean, the tiebreak situation that gets USID across it is a bit ridiculous. They kind of need, actually, UOM to get that win, as we were discussing before. Going to be some very difficult asks, but that being said, we do have the man who scored that 0 second goal to put this series away, getting ready to join us now. We'll soon be speaking to Kibilio, and I think we'll just get voice, so no camera. Voice of Kibilio, congratulations on that 0 second shot.
Thank you very much. Felt good to finish off the series.
Yeah, that was incredible. We were watching you go up for that, and there was some part of us that was like, yeah, he's absolutely going to hit this, and really glad you did. That's probably, I would say, arguably, that's one of the best goals I've seen the entire season, especially given the timing on that. That was perfect.
Thank you. I was feeling a bit off all night, but it was good to finish off with a nice moment. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
good.
I mean, this season, unfortunately, I'm going to have to bring up everything as a whole right now. Not really been the best showing for UCID, unfortunately. A lot of heartbreaking losses where it feels like you guys have been close, but just not able to get those series wins. Do you feel as a whole this season you guys maybe have underperformed a bit and will be back stronger next year, or was the competition just that much more difficult?
I think, we lost a good team in Macquarie, but we gained a few good teams. So the competition's probably as close as it's ever been, I think. And we were just on the unlucky end of a few game fives that really changed the season. So, sometimes it just comes down to luck. Maybe not luck, but just those moments, and we didn't show up.
Yeah.
So it's a bit disappointing, and hopefully next season we come back stronger. Yeah.
I mean, you still do have, mathematically, we've been talking about this all night, you guys technically still do have an opportunity to make it into the playoffs. You would need to beat UT next week and a few other, Formal's better at explaining this, but there are a few other factors, a few other teams that would need to lose.
UOM
next
has
week.
to beat Griffith. That's the big one.
I believe in UOM.
Oh.
They can do it. They can do it. I didn't know that.
We
I didn't know
believe in
that.
UOM.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. We'll make sure we.
Actually, does the UOM Griffith game matter? Actually, it might not. Hold on. No, it doesn't. My apologies. That game doesn't matter. The big ones are ANU has to beat UTS. That's the big one.
Okay. All right. Sounds possible.
Ooh.
And okay,
And-
we'll make sure
yeah,
we show up next
yeah.
week and get the win then. To keep it
So yeah,
interesting.
if you beat QUT, that would tie you with QUT, and then you need UTS to lose to ANU.
Sounds good. We'll make sure that happens.
All right.
I mean,
all right.
that-
I like.
That's interesting because UTS, I feel like if they played how they did tonight, and ANU has met us back next week, and they played the way they played last week, I think that'll be really interesting. Now I'm really excited for next week, but I'm glad you guys know ahead of time that you still got the shot.
Yeah.
You're still going to go hard next week because you need that win.
Thanks for letting us know. We had no idea.
Yeah. That would be an exciting three-way tie should it come down in that facility. But I still think, look, last week's side. Let's go back to this series though, because again, you had the slower start, popped off towards the end. Again, with you guys, it feels like very rarely do we see UCID look strong 3 games in a row. It's always like 2 or 3 games where you look fantastic, and then 1 or 2 games where things aren't that great.
Yeah.
Where have you been able to find that? Do you feel like though things have been more consistent at times? Is it like where are the struggles coming
We don't play together very often, so maybe that comes down to it. Like, we don't get into that flow state. But I think when we just focus on playing fast and putting the pressure on our opponents, usually we create goals. So just about keeping it up throughout a whole series, which we haven't really been able to do this season. Yeah.
No, understandable.
Very, very, very well. Good. All right. Well, look, we're going to leave you. We've given you some hope, a reason to fight next week for sure. Who knows? Some craziness can happen. It's going to be the first game next week against QUT. Any final words of encouragement for the squad that you're going to go back and tell them after this interview?
I'll make sure they know that we've got a chance, and we'll come out and give it our all next week, and hopefully one of us will be speaking to you after that game.
All right. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining us, Camilio.
Luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a very, very fun week next time because, I mean, again, when you always have that team with an outside chance, it makes things so exciting. And I know ANU would love to play spoiler. I love UON. I know UON, I should say, would love to take that number seed away from the University of New South Wales. And I know UOM would love to get a win against Griffith as well so they can get at least one win on the series as a whole. But when it comes to our series for today, if we had to pick the best game, I mean, a lot of sweeps, so I guess the best game was the last one, as it turns out.
Actually, I think you're right on that one, Formal, especially with that last goal from Camilio. That definitely was the icing on the cake for me, like in terms of like picking the series that was the best of the night. Did not expect the other 3 to be sweeps either, so I guess in a way, not necessarily, I wouldn't call them best series of the night, any of those three, but surprising, yes.
I still love Steve's goal in game
Yeah,
3.
true.
That
the
was
Steve goal.
being rated for me as well. But speaking of ratings, we can see our teams and where they stand right now as we were talking about UCID versus UTS. It might look between the battle between fifth. UCID versus QUT might look like only a battle between fourth and sixth, but again, that has so many playoff implications, especially if ANU can get the upset win on UTS. But atop the ladder, 3 teams are guaranteed in. New South Wales, UON, and Griffith. Because of tie breaks, these 3 squads have secured themselves in the playoffs, and now we have 3 more teams fighting for that last one.
Yeah, that is interesting, Formal. It is battle of 4th place at the moment. Battle for the final position in playoffs. We don't have that locked in just yet. So it really is do or die next week. As we said, there is still an opportunity for UCID. There's still, UTS can still pull through. UT can hold strong. It's really, really hard to tell at this point who's going to take that last position.
I mean, the easiest way to decide it is if QUT beats UCID, but if UCID gets that win, if they win that first game, oh boy, it's going to be chaos, and it's not going to be chaos you are going to want to miss. But you know who hasn't missed the chaos and who's been with us every single week this wonderful Elite Series? Not us, Morky, but our sponsors for this event.
Our sponsors, of course, like we've said, none of this would be possible. You guys wouldn't get to experience this excitement. You wouldn't get to watch these teams if it wasn't for our wonderful sponsors. We can't go without thanking them, of course. We've got AGON by AOC, the gaming monitor partner who provide the best in-class monitor solutions for gaming and all other needs. So if you're in need for a monitor, we cannot recommend them enough. They're incredible. And of course, if you're hungry, there is our other partner. We've got Indomie, the noodle partner, made with high-quality flour and select ingredients and spices. A plate of Indomie meal goreng will certainly brighten up your day. Try any one of the flavors available today from your local grocer, or of course, you can head on down to indomie.com.au.
Yeah, big thank you to them both, and a big thank you to all of you for tuning in and watching along with us. Do make sure to follow along at our socials, AEL. There's so much happening. Counter-Strike going to be the name of the game tomorrow, which, you know, things are kind of heating up over there in that Elite Series, I believe, as well. I'm sorry, there is no Counter-Strike tomorrow, I'm being told. Well, I'm sorry about that. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule. It was the tiebreaker week, so I guess there's no tiebreakers. That's unfortunate.
Here's me going, oh yeah, I'm tuning in tomorrow night. I love Counter-Strike. Hang on a sec. Okay.
No, you gotta wait. You gotta wait till next month for Counter-Strike, but that's okay.
Anticipation.
It'll come through. I'm looking at like the spreadsheet for this, and it makes it is written in a very confusing way that I do not understand. It's a weird one. So look, either way, come back here next week. Rocket League, that's happening next week. All right, I can guarantee that one.
Looking forward to it. It'll be an exciting week. You don't want to miss it. And yeah, I guess I'll sign up. We'll see you guys then.